He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that old swamp.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you on a Tuesday morning, 6:05. Phone lines are open. 928-344-5258. Tonight is the State of the Union with our President Donald Trump. It's only his fourth State of the Union. Officially two of them. I mean, it would be his sixth address, but two of his speeches are just joint sessions of Congress. You know, when a president's newly elected, and it's his first. He's not responsible for the year before. He just gives a joint session of Congress speech. It's not really State of the Union. It just looks the same, sounds the same, and it accomplishes the same purpose. That's all. And the purpose for it is to kind of lay out exactly what's gonna happen for the rest of the year. You know, lay out his accomplishments, put his agenda for the coming year. So it's a kickoff, essentially, for the campaign too. That's coming up. It's going to have some politics in it. There's no question. It's always going to have that, but it's not something that is new. In fact, it's in the Constitution, believe it or not. Yeah, it was put in the Constitution. Article 2, Section 3. It's described under some of the president's duties. And it says in the Constitution, he shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. So it was spelled out in the Constitution that he's going to report to Congress. George Washington delivered the first State of the Union address in 1790. And then Thomas Jefferson discontinued the practice. I mean, as far as oral. It doesn't spell out that it has to be oral or written, so Jefferson he wrote him a letter and delivered a full report. So he submitted the letter. And that was in 1801 that he decided to break with tradition. So it only lasted 10 years, but he broke. And then Woodrow Wilson revived it. I'm not a fan of Woodrow Wilson, but he revised that address to be done orally and live in 1913. First broadcast on television was in 1966. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the first State of the Union response was broadcast in 1966. I guess it wasn't always a response. It wasn't an opposing viewpoint, a point counterpoint type stuff. 1966 was the first one, and the GOP congressional leaders delivered a 30-minute rebuttal, but they didn't do it right away. Like today, the speech will be done, the State of the Union, and almost immediately following will be some kind of terrible rebuttal. Usually they're not very, very much worth watching. It's a tough one to have. You know, they want to pick out a leader, whether Republican or Democrat, that's going to give the rebuttal that has some gravitas and some noteworthiness, has some name recognition and ability to put two words together. And maybe it can propel your popularity, propel you for, your reelection, or you can just suck at it and not be good. And so to go through this one this year for the rebuttal, and they do it immediately. There's no time. There's no week of preparation and training and planning and having speech writers go through it. I mean, it's pretty much immediate. But they already know what the president's going to talk about. So, there's some parts of it, I think, that are already drafted and already put together. But in 1966, you had a week. You had a lot more time to put it together. I think it probably um, it probably shut down or something. Let me just check, see if the audio is going out there. Yeah, yeah, it seems to be working now. I hit something somehow. I must have bumped it and hit something, knocked it off. But anyway, getting back to State of the Union. Just shocked me when my computer went black and I thought I was in trouble. We're back up. And it's out there on YouTube. It's out there on X. And it's out there on Facebook as far as live. It takes place in the House chambers at the U.S. Capitol, which, of course, I don't know if you remember when Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House. That's her house at that point. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but they gave Trump a hard time about going in. They eventually held it there, but he was thinking of doing it somewhere else or something. But just some political bickering. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, buddy.
Hey, well, good morning, Danny. How are you?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm really doing well.
Yeah, I tried to get through yesterday, but I couldn't.
Okay.
I wanted to chime in on a couple things. First off, Sunday night I watched a really good movie that I saw in the movie theater in 1979. The Deer Hunter. Did you ever see that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, a wonderful movie. Although thrilling, kind of
Dark.
Like scary at times. It's a rough situations. Yeah.
Depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be in the right frame of mind for it. I just happen to be in that mind, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then I remembered who was playing Mike. There was Robert De Niro. And then I said,
yeah, and that's something how, his current antics and his current situation. I don't want to see his movies. I don't want to see him, but I'd probably watch The Deer Hunter again. Yeah.
Yeah. That and Sunday night, I was getting ready to go out here, and I was listening to Fox, and I don't know who it was. It was on Fox and Friends. And anyways, this guy was talking about that if the left gets its way and keeps poisoning our young people full of bullcrap, that this is not going to be good because they're going to grow up thinking that's the way it is.
That's correct. But they've been doing that for years. I don't think the Republicans recognized it to the extent that it was. They do now, and there's a lot more work. And Charlie Kirk, God bless him, and he just did wonderful work on college campuses and stuff to bring debate and information and discussion where most people are just flat afraid of it. But you had groups like Ann Coulter and stuff that were doing it, a decade ago or better. But not with the penetration and the connection that Kurt made. Kurt really resonated because he was one. I mean, he felt like he was one of that group, that age group.
And he quite frankly, for all due respect, he was. I mean,
well, yeah, and beside that, he was really brilliant and very religious, grounded, and braced in the gospel. And gosh, he could just right off the top of his head just quote Bible verse, and it's just it's really humbling to watch his stuff and to see just how brilliant a man that he really was.
He was smart. Did he graduate college or no? I don't remember.
He dropped out.
That's what I thought.
I mean, early on. I don't think his attendance at college was much of anything. If he did drop out, I mean, maybe he didn't go at all. I don't remember. I thought it was something that he was going to go. I think he tried to get into one of the academies or something. Something happened, and he just said, "Heck, I'm not college material. Don't need it." And I think 99% of the people that say that probably are making a mistake. Not him. Yeah. He really didn't need it.
Yeah. Well, college isn't for everybody, though, buddy.
Oh gosh, no. And he made that very apparent that half the people in college are just spending a lot of money for nothing.
Exactly. Liberal arts. What the hell is that?
Right. And there's still, and he acknowledged that, although college is a fraud, and that's what he called it, it was necessary, engineers, doctors, those kind of things that need massive amounts of study and in certain aspects of life and their profession. liberal arts, you can get that on the street, dude. You don't need to go to college for that.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about street smart versus college smart.
I'm very pro college, but I don't look. There's a lot of ways to get through life. It doesn't have to be college. I was always pro college. I always asked my. It was never a matter of are you going to college. It was, well, which college do you want to attend?
Well, that's where common sense comes into play.
Yeah.
And hey, I went to Southern Illinois at Edwardsville for a couple of years, and I had a good experience. But then one thing led to another, and I came back home to Chicago.
Sure.
But I did fine. I did okay. But then I went to work in the trades.
Yeah. Oh, there's great opportunities out there, and college has become so grossly expensive.
Oh my God!
With some exceptions, like our local AWC, I just have to applaud them and embrace them all the time for what they do for the community, and they actually give you your tuition back if you graduate in, I think, 3 years, and then sign up for a continued education into the 4-year school. They just give it back to you. AWC, Arizona Western College.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. Okay, wow. Well, that's a good deal. Good incentive.
It's tremendous. It's a tremendous deal. It's a great community college, and I wholeheartedly embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's just like up north in Chicago. There was a college, a 2-year called College of DuPage County, and that easily could have. They were talking about this when I was going to school for 4 years of making it a 4-year school, and it easily could have.
Oh, there's a lot of great ways to get education out there. I started off at a vocational school in Delaware, Kent County VOTEC, vocational technical college. It wasn't. I didn't ended up liking it. I mean, I thought they had these progressive ideals that classes can go on as long as it takes you to learn it. Like if it stretches over 2 or 3 semesters, don't worry about it. Take your test when you want to. And it was just made me lazy. So. Because I didn't have deadlines. There were no deadlines. Yeah, so I got out of that.
And what is that teaching the guy or the gal? What was that teaching the student? I mean, that's teaching them nothing.
Wasn't real life. So I went over to the 4-year college, Delaware State University, and they had deadlines.
Yeah. Well, most normal schools do.
Yeah. Well, so does life.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly.
Try getting a job without deadlines. I don't know where that exists. I don't know.
Not unless you're independently wealthy.
Well, then it's not a job. You've bought a job instead of asking a man for one. Yeah.
Well, I gotta go.
See you, man. Be good.
All
right. That was Danny this morning. Getting back to the State of the Union. On the floor, and the only people in the floor are going to be legislators, Supreme Court, and members of the cabinet officials, Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's who's going to be on the floor. And Supreme Court and cabinet officials kind of sit up front, right there in front of the lectern, and then behind them the senators, and then the House. First come, first serve on the seats, except Democrats sit on the right, Republicans on the left of the speaker. Kind of split down the middle. So they play the game of I'm going to sit and not clap and then jump up and clap. And yeah, it's kind of a dance, kind of boring as far as it's just unfortunate. It just becomes hateful. And last year, if you remember, the Democrats had all these signs up, lies and all that. And I think they wore white to protest. A lot of them walked out and all that stuff. And they want to do whatever they can to make a spectacle of this. And then they didn't stand up and clap for that poor kid with cancer that Trump made a police officer. Like I think it was Secret Service police or something that he got a badge for and all for that kid. That kid ended up passing, by the way. But the Democrats wouldn't stand up. They wouldn't applaud him. They wouldn't applaud anything. It wouldn't have mattered what Trump said. They're not going to applaud. But it becomes so radically partisan, so radically ridiculous. It's unfortunate. Well, this year I understand that they've been getting together to figure out how they're going to I say disrupt. You can't really disrupt. You like it was Al Green, I think, that disrupt last time. A gentleman that went and sat down when he was asked to sit down. He refused to until they threw him out. He wanted to get thrown out. I mean, I guess that's a normal way of protest is to get arrested. He wasn't arrested, but he was removed, and then censured, I think. And then afterwards, they did a protest. I say they, him, and some of his Democrat colleagues, saying some spiritual or something, some hymn or something. And after Mike Johnson had said, clear the court, clear the room, or we're still in business, and they wanted to get arrested again, I think. And Mike Johnson just said, "Okay, we're done for today. You guys go ahead and sing," and left. It's just ridiculous what goes on, that kind of stuff. Yeah, he was protesting that he got censured or taken out for protesting. It's not the place for protesting, because that is the house that's controlled by the speaker's house right there, and he was very polite about it. Mike Johnson let him eventually said, "Okay, now it's enough, and let's go ahead and sit down," and he wasn't going to. So this year we have to see what that's going to be. I've heard there's going to be walkouts, people are going to leave and all that, and I guess that's what they get elected for, to walk out. This whole cancel culture and this whole of not listening to anybody but my own bubble is just ridiculous. It's just gotten to the point of silliness. And so we'll see silliness. I mean, it's always happening. Up in the galley, that's reserved for guests only now. You're not going to get a seat up there. And the sitting lawmakers get to invite some guests and stuff, and well as the president's wife. The president's wife gets a booth, and she gets to invite people. And of course, some of those people are going to be incorporated into the president's speech. They'll be highlighted or something for some reason. Starts at 9:00 Eastern time today, 7 p.m. our time. And the places to watch it, CBS, I guess. CBS News is going to have full coverage. And you can get that on the CBS News app, cbsnews.com. You can get that on YouTube. You can get it on a lot of social platforms. We'll be playing it. You'll be able to see it on X, I'm quite sure, other than YouTube. Paramount Plus is going to have it also. I recommend that. Paramount Plus, yeah. Because Edward is on that one. I mean, he likes that one. So I definitely support them. And then Pluto. I don't do that. Nicole Wilkerson wrote me and says it's not just some kid that died. It's DJ Daniels is his name. Thank you, Nicole. His name's DJ Daniels. 13-year-old from Houston. He had terminal brain cancer. He was honored by President Trump, which was a touching moment. Trump was sincere about it. You could tell. And kid had gone through 13 brain surgeries. And thanks for Nicole for passing that along. I didn't remember the details and I didn't look it up. Oh, and she says he's not dead. I thought he died. My apologies. I thought DJ had passed. Okay. Well, I'd have to apologize to him for that. Let me see. Someone else writes in, judge permanently blocks release of Jack Smith's report on Trump's classified document case. I have no idea why. That was a question. Why not release it? Transparency. I have no idea. That was up to the judge. I'm sure Jack Smith doesn't want it out there. Trump would probably like it out there, because he's claiming that there were things wrong, things flawed with Jack Smith, and that he did things that was not legal, probably. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Buenos dias, senor. How are you?
We're doing well. Good morning, Gilbert.
Yes, it is a beautiful morning. 51 degrees. We've got a warm spell coming on, huh?
We really do, and I read a little bit of that today about record warms because of climate change, and that's just, crazy talk.
But then again, we got a bunch of crazy people, and there are people walking out of State of the Union. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi tearing up the script. Remember that?
Yeah, she said
Or
she
do
didn't rehearse it, which she obviously did. But,
yes, she did.
yeah.
She can't do anything. It's all about status.
Right.
And again, as I was talking to you yesterday, we know that 76% of the Democratic people want voter ID, but their leadership is saying no, we don't want it, and they're turning their backs on them.
But they can't make
All
public
those-
why. They can't. The leadership can't
They
say,
can't.
well, it's because it covers up our fraud. They can't say
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lady, I can't remember her name. She's one of these people that has her own podcast. She's out in the street asking people about that, and they go, "Yeah, voter ID is a crime." Blah 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 blah. But there was a lot of our black brothers and sisters and Latinos in that crowd. So
Mhm.
she started asking these people, "Well, what do you think? Do you have ID?" "Yeah, I got ID." "Yes, I have ID." You know, she must ask 10, 20 people, "Do you have ID?" Now, yeah. Well, this guy that was trying to rebuke this reporter just looked stupid.
Yeah.
But we need more of that. But there's a lot of other stuff going on. I was having a conversation last night with a Canadian, and she was upset because Canada is recruiting foreign people for the military because they don't have enough people in their military.
It's
Did
all
you hear anything?
probably all volunteer. I know they spend a lot less on their budget than NATO requires. They haven't lived up to their obligation to NATO, and that's something that Trump's put out. But I didn't know they were recruiting. No.
And I looked it up. I thought, oh, come on, this is crazy. This is nuts. So I Googled it this morning, and yeah, they are looking for people for the military. They say certain areas.
Wow.
But they're getting volunteers from China.
Well, I know Ukraine has people from other countries, and Russia definitely recruits. I mean, they're actively getting.
Yeah, but they're our northern border, and if they're getting Chinese in there, that's a scary thought to me.
It should be, because the only people that are going to get visas to leave and go over there are going to be approved by the CCP,
China.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And they probably have a mission, to send back intel.
Exactly. And yeah, a lot of stuff. And that goes along with Mexico. How much money is China sending into Mexico to the cartels?
I have no idea.
Where are they getting their fentanyl from?
Well,
Where's
yeah, but
China
the Chinese sells it. I would imagine they make money on it, but
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Money's money. Right? How you get it is how you get it, and there's probably be a lot of influence in there. I know there's a lot of Chinese restaurants in Mexico. San Luis used to have 2 great Chinese restaurants. I'm just saying that the influence. I wonder how much influence is coming in from China other than drugs.
Yeah. I would imagine it's a lot more than we like. When we know during the Biden years, the Chinese illegals jumped astronomically in percentage-wise. I mean, it just was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Went from a few hundred to many thousands.
Yes. And they're all over. I heard Danny talking about that movie he saw. I flashed back the other day, and I was watching Red Dawn. Remember the movie, the original Red Dawn?
Absolutely.
You don't think that could happen today?
Well, something like that can always happen. Where we get invaded or something happens to our.
Well, Russ, what I'm getting at, those Chinese are already in place. The terrorists are already in place,
and that's why we need a strong Department of War.
We actually need a strong president. We need a strong president.
Yeah, strong control of our borders and ICE to get the people out of the country that don't belong here.
And we need a strong involvement from all Americans. We need to start talking about Americans, America. And the bottom line, this, what's that word you always use, Russ, when identifying people? Hell, I got a brain fart right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, we all talk about Black Americans, white Americans, brown Americans, yada yada.
Racist.
we're Americans. Until we get back to being Americans once again, we're going to have a crap load of problems. We need our Christian brothers and sisters to come out and vote. This midterm is very important, very, very important.
It becomes more and more every day, Gilbert. It does. The forces against our union are just amazing.
Yep. Well, we got Satan running around, and I'm hearing that Texas might turn blue the midterms.
Well, I think that's impossible, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't see anything on that. I mean, they're solid red and becoming more red.
I hope so. I hope Arizona becomes really red with all the stuff with their voter ID, all the falsehoods the Democratic Party is bringing out, the fear mongering and all that. You would start to think that the Democratic voters would turn their backs on the Democratic Party.
Well, Democrats have been doing that forever, and the Democrats kind of get used to that. I mean,
that's true. You keep on.
They make stuff up all the time. Like Trump's going to not leave office. De Niro the other day on MSNBC. Talking about all of Trump's plans, like he's reading Trump's diary or something.
I watched something last night, and he was about ready to cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was sulking, and his lips were shivering. I'm going, wow, this is definitely De Niro. He's acting out. But that's what we're fishing. Anyway, I thought I'd just call you, tell you about Canada, and if they are recruiting, foreign, but they're recruiting from China, our northern border. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
All right, so you have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Take care, man. Bye-bye. Let me see. Nicole has helped me out this morning. She said Canada's prioritizing foreign military members to immigrate to the country. All right. Plano, Texas is a majority Muslim. It's blue. They're selling hijabs in Walmart. Yeah, I've heard about that before. I didn't know it was a majority, though. Another said, I don't remember a period when we were all just Americans. It would be a good thing. I think we were all just Americans after the hockey game. The whole hockey team, they identified themselves very strongly as Americans. And I know that's not everybody, but it's a group, and we don't see enough of that. And usually the Olympics and stuff is where you wrap yourself in the flag. You do it for your country and country pride and patriotism. And we started off the Olympics, I think it was 3 or 4, that were not proud of their country and had mixed feelings about their country. And they got more ridicule than support, I think. But it doesn't matter. The negativity is out there, and it's unfortunate. But to see the men's hockey team that were doing it for the country and proud to be an American. I mean, it was uplifting to see the president's call. I don't know if you saw that, but the president talked to them in the locker room on Kash Patel's phone. Kash Patel was in the locker room. He was invited into the locker room. He had planned to be there. Apparently, he's an avid hockey fan, and he had other business in there, as a lot of people did, because there were a lot of world leaders at the Olympics, and it was a great opportunity to meet with world leaders and have some entertainment all at the same time, which many did. And I know the left was panning it that Kash Patel was there, if taxpayer money and all that stuff, and it was just for recreation. No, apparently it's been on the books for quite some time, and the White House and the government explained all that and opened it up and said, look, this thing's been on the books, and it's normally like that. It's a great opportunity to meet with these people, and we don't do that just as a junket. I mean, have taxpayer dollars pay to have them go to the hockey game? That's not the case. But while he's out there, I mean, he certainly can plan around it, and they did. But the left was, for some reason, I'm talking about the press and the left and everything, or maybe politically, but just terrible. But I think it's wonderful when we have a and Olympics like that we have high-ranking officials that are in the audience, high-ranking officials that go to help support the country, help support the patriotism, help support the athletes that are trying to show their best for their country. And that's what it's all about. It's an Olympics of countries, competition against countries for country pride. And somehow some people lose that, which was unfortunate. That there were a few, and it wasn't a ton, but there were a few that were not proud of their country. And after they got a lot of ridicule, they started to try to modify it. Says, no, I am happy to be an American. I just had some problems, whatever. Yeah, they modified it a little bit. Didn't really apologize, but it's over though. Yeah, the Olympics had their closing ceremonies on Sunday, and I did watch a lot of it. I did watch. Helen likes the ice skating, and we watched a lot of that. It was very interesting. We watched some downhill races and a little bit of everything. What's something called a skeleton, where you jump on your belly and go down the like a bobsled by yourself, like at 80 mile an hour down the side of the mountain. Sounds like fun. I would try that. I know I'm a little more fragile now than when I was 30, or 20, but yes, I would try that. I would want to do that. The speaker, I'm sorry, the speech tonight for the State of the Union. The cabinet, I just said, was going to be there, but there's always one cabinet official, at least one cabinet official, that is not going to be there. They call him the designated survivor. So if something happened that was super tragic, that somehow a bomb went off in the house and it completely obliterated D.C. and everybody there was not going to be at their desk tomorrow, there'd be a designated survivor that's in line to be the presidential line, that would be there. They made a TV show like that, designated survivor. It showed a tragedy that happened somehow, and had a cabinet member, lowly cabinet member, that was away from the White House, or away from the House, and just was the only survivor. No, he's the one. Now you're president. Congratulations. It's the secession. That's the way it's set up. It goes to the cabinet, and it goes through the cabinet. And I don't know the order, but that's after the House Speaker, which is number 3, and all that. And if the cabinet is all gone, then it goes to the governors. Yep. Can eventually get to the governors if there's nobody in D.C. left that's in secession. Then it can go to the governors. It starts off with the very first state and works on. So Arizona would be very much at the tail end of that. Help me, we're the 48th, I think. I think we're the 48th state, so we're very near the tail end. And Delaware, where I went to high school and college, was number 1. They're the first state. That's the first governor that would get the opportunity, which hopefully never even happens, or we even have to consider that. Something else about the State of the Union. How long is it going to take? In 2017, during Trump's first one, which was really the joint session of Congress speech, because it wasn't, he was brand new. It didn't really have a State of the Union, but it works the same. 1 hour. 2018, 1 hour and 21 minutes. 2019, 1 hour and 22 minutes. 2020, 1 hour and 18 minutes. And then he had a long one in 25, which is a record, at least since 1964. 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's the longest one since 1964. So, and this year he says he has a lot to talk about. So we're gonna see. we're gonna see. Oh, and I didn't say who the Democrat is that's going to get to deliver the rebuttal. The governor, Abigail Spanberger, out of Virginia. I don't know how I feel completely about it. I don't like her. She ran as a moderate to get governor. Now she's governor. She is as socialist and as communist as Mandani. I mean, right away when she got in there, she undid everything that the previous governor had done, and we'll see what goes on with her. but I'm kind of interested to watch it. I mean, it might be interesting. It might be interesting to see what she says, whether she actually helps the Democrat Party or causes them more problems. I don't know. I think someone like Crockett should do it, because that's definitely popcorn worthy. That's when you want to get the popcorn out. I'll be right back. AM 560.
Approaching record-setting high temperatures for this week with 89 the high today. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. Clear and 60 tonight. Sunny and 94 tomorrow. Partly cloudy and 65 tomorrow night.
Crime is already skyrocketing in 2026. Now, you may already own a firearm, but before you face the financial, the legal, the emotional weight of pulling that trigger, there is new technology, a smarter option. It's non-lethal. BYRNA.com. Berta makes less lethal launchers. It fires tear gas, pepper spray, kinetic rounds. It is designed to stop an attacker for up to 40 minutes. That gives you time to escape. That gives you time to get help without deadly consequences. Now, remember, it fires at 400 feet per second, and it has serious stopping power, enough to shut down a threat very fast without the legal, moral complexity of using lethal force. And every single launcher hand-assembled in beautiful Fort Wayne, Indiana. Legal in all 50 states, no background check, and they'll ship it straight to your door. Just go to BYRNA.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family. That's BYRNA.com.
This is as real as it gets. Get up, get kids up, feed the dog, feed the kids, out the door, work, pick up kids, dinner, bath, bed, repeat. You strive all day to make life better for them. So why not make life better for you? Get strive-free checking at Avenir Financial. No frills, no fuss, no monthly fee. Open a strive-free checking today at avenirfinancial.org. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Sprague Sports is Yuma's hunting and shooting headquarters. Why? Because Sprague Sports is the difference. Where else can you buy, sell, trade, or consign firearms with free expert appraisals always? There's nothing like Sprague Sports. With local price matching, you can buy with confidence at Sprague's. And all Sprague's firearms come with a lifetime warranty. And talk about customer service. There's a gunsmith always on duty. And there's expert one-day sight-in service. But that's not all. Sprague Sports has got training classes, including Arizona CCW, First Shot, Hunter's Education, and more. Sprague's handles Glock, Blue Label pistols, and is your NFA dealer in suppressors and full autos. That's why we call them the experts. And Sprague's is Yuma's Yeti headquarters, the best Yeti selection and free ice for life. Sprague's has 15 lanes of certified indoor shooting range and gun rentals you can try before you buy. That's Sprague Sports, Yuma's hunting and shooting headquarters. Responsible gun ownership since 1956. 32nd Street next to Lowe's.
Crime is already skyrocketing in 2026. Now, you may already own a firearm, but before you face the financial, the legal, the emotional weight of pulling that trigger, there is new technology, a smarter option. It's non-lethal. BYRNA.com. Berta makes less lethal launchers. It fires tear gas, pepper spray, kinetic rounds. It is designed to stop an attacker for up to 40 minutes. That gives you time to escape. That gives you time to get help without deadly consequences. Now, remember, it fires at 400 feet per second, and it has serious stopping power, enough to shut down a threat very fast without the legal, moral complexity of using lethal force. And every single launcher hand-assembled in beautiful Fort Wayne, Indiana. Legal in all 50 states, no background check, and they'll ship it straight to your door. Just go to BYRNA.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family. That's BYRNA.com.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6 foot.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you. It's already 6:44. Nicole's wide awake this morning. She's even doing some more fact checking. She fact checked herself. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. She had said earlier that Plano, Texas is a majority Muslim. And I said, I hadn't heard that. That seems like it's high. But I knew it was a lot of Muslim things going on over there. Like there's a development or something where they want to bring in Sharia law, which, yeah, you can legally do that. You just, as long as it fits within what's going on with the real law. But she corrected herself. So it's only 5%. That's more believable. That's a big number, I guess, for influence. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Russ. How you doing?
We're doing well, Carl.
Nice to be talking to you.
Nice to talk to you, man. I'm glad I'm glad I'm not in a hospital bed whining and crying. I just whine and crying in the afternoon, and then I come in the morning and feel good.
But if you stop and think about it, the things they can do to our bodies now is amazing.
Yeah. I got a electric assist heart now, not just an electric assist bicycle. So so it's given me more energy. Really, I didn't realize how low my heart rate had got. I think it made some effect. Some people have noticed I have more energy.
Yeah. I think my 2 cents is for today is going to be I want to get the heart rate of Yuma up.
Sure.
So what we're going to do now, the Tea Party is going to have the trolley back out at the fair this year.
Right.
And our main purpose is we want people in Yuma to come out and talk to the candidates. These candidates they're going to be talking to are the ones that want to keep Arizona red.
Right. And that needs to be a whole country thing. I know we're going to be given some direction and some motivation from our President Donald Trump tonight in the State of the Union.
Yes.
That's going to be laying out the agenda for the rest of the year. I know that the top Republicans have already been meeting to go through, the best thing to do to put our best foot forward, because historically we're in a bad position when a party takes over the presidency, the executive branch. Quite often they lose seats in the House or Senate. They do. That's history. So history's against us.
Yeah.
So it's going to take more work.
And Yuma has that same problem. We could go blue this time very easily by 1 vote.
Well, we just went red not too long ago.
That is true.
We're not going to lose it. I think there's a momentum. I think Trump's going to show us how to keep that momentum. Although don't get me wrong, I know local Republicans have been working on it. Local Republicans have been meeting about just that, about keeping that momentum. So it's but this will, when you hear from the commander in chief, that should put an extra bite in it. It just does.
Yes. Well, that's the boss, and if you work for a company and you do what the boss asks you to do. And as far as you can look at the United States as a big company, and we have to compete all over the world.
Well, you do need to follow some kind of leadership, and it's tough when you're an elected official. You're a Senate and representative, and Trump is the boss. Particularly, he's the president of the United States, but also the leader of the Republican Party. That's another hat that just goes automatically with the job.
Yes. Because, that's the Republican Party is leading the country now. And so that does make President Trump the commander in chief.
And he is. And on the positive numbers, Trump has been in office, this a year now that he's been in office. And the percentage of Republicans that support him has not fallen. The MAGA movement is strong, and it's still. And it's hard to do because you're getting a lot of mud thrown at you constantly over decisions. And of course, the opposition does that to break down support, get doubt out there. And that's tough to hold together in your first year. As you're making changes, as you're doing things that may be unpopular for some, like cutting back on personnel and bureaucracies, you're going to get some people that hate your guts,
Yeah. President Trump is getting rid of the people that are stealing money from us.
Yeah, and I can't believe
throwing a lot of mud.
It's hard to believe that is unpopular in Democratic circles. Like, how dare you go after the fraud? There's more important things to do. Don't go after the criminals. ICE is bad because these poor people are in the country illegally, but they're good people, so leave them alone. I'm like, some of it just doesn't make sense. It's not logic. It's emotion, maybe. But it drives me crazy that they're so passionate on supporting lawbreakers, including the criminals, the rapists, and the murderers, and all that other stuff. They're gonna cover for them.
That's right.
Yeah.
But when we see that right here in Yuma, Arizona, and I seen it in my backyard because I had somebody from the high school, some young kid.
Yeah.
He come out of it. He got up on my fence and vandalized my sign. So we see what's going on all over the United States. We see it in our own backyard.
Well, that was a brilliant protest put by the organizers, probably from foreign money, to schedule that to be skipping school, because every kid wants to skip school. So that's not hard to convince them. They don't even have to have a good reason. So if you're going to do it and say, "All my buddies are doing it, everybody's doing it," you're going to go do it. But I think it was you that mentioned that if they'd done that on Saturday morning, not a single kid would have shown up. Like, man, that's my day. I'm not protesting on my day. We're only doing that because it's a free school day, because I don't know what the protest is all about.
Well, you know, just to let people in Yuma know that this man that jumped up on my fence, I am going to do everything I can to not being upset with the man, but I want him to look me in the eye and tell me why he did that.
Well, they know who he is, right? I mean, that's already been determined. Okay.
I have the case number.
Okay.
And I'm just waiting for the police department that takes care of the schools. They're going to call me and they're going to tell me when that kid's going to be going down to juvenile court.
Well, don't they ask if you want to press charges? Do they do that, or do they just take that on their own? I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to press charges.
You are? Okay. And that's fine.
Yes.
But would you give him an out if he said, "Look, I'll apologize. I'll come help you put the sign up," and those kind of things? Would you let him have an out? Because he's a kid, but that's up to you.
Well, no. His reaction to all of this is going to be he's out, because I'm not out for revenge.
No.
To me, I'm out, so I want to find out why these people thought it was so bad to try and make America great again. Who is explaining that to these children that's not right?
Well, because he's he's a juvie, right? He's 17, is he?
I really don't know.
Well, I guess if it's a juvenile court, it is, obviously. But I don't know how much you're allowed to interact with him. I don't know what those rules are. I don't know.
I haven't called the school yet. I thought maybe the school would call me, but no, nobody from the school called me and said, "Hey, we're sorry. We let the kids out of their school and they've come vandalize your property, scared the hell out of my wife."
Well, if nothing else, that action is going to make the school change, because they let policies lapse during COVID to where they didn't have the security checks that they usually have. And apparently they're going to reinstitute all that about leaving campus and needed a reason to and being responsible. I didn't realize our schools had gone to where they just dropped all responsibility. Let the kids take care of themselves. They're smart enough. You couldn't have trusted me at that age.
Yeah, but the police department did not. They was at my front door the next morning at 8:30 wanting to find out from me what happened.
Yeah.
So the police department was doing their job.
Perfect.
In my opinion.
Perfect.
So that's what I think about these people. What I think is the people in the school, they didn't do their job.
I'm going to agree with you on the surface from what I know.
Yes.
I've not. I don't know each case at all, but I've heard enough word of mouth stuff that some teachers were supporting it and pushing it, and some teachers chaperoned it. And that's just horrible to think. But,
well, maybe that's one of the things that this young man that vandalized my sign, maybe that's what he may have to tell me.
Yeah.
Which one of those teachers in there set you up to do this? Or I would like to know, and I think Yuma would like to know, how somebody can penetrate our children and make them think that parts of our government are horrible, that are trying to keep us safe.
Well, yeah, I'd like to have him on the air, but that's not going to happen. I mean, I'd have to have a shop. I mean, if his parents came in with him, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I don't want embarrassment. I mean, I'm like you. I just like to know, like, really, what goes through your mind? What influenced you?
What influence? And that's what would really interest me, is what influenced this young person's mind that he thinks part of our government. If he should be bad at somebody, I would say I'd go beat up on the IRS.
Yeah.
Because they come and take your money.
Absolutely.
ICE was just trying to get people out of the country that are trying to take your money.
I appreciate the call, my friend.
You have a good day, my friend.
Thank you, man.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
I'm glad you're doing good.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right.
Take
No,
care.
it's very important you take care of yourself. We need you around.
All right, man. Be good. Bye-bye. I got a note from a listener. It says Carl acts like his house was burned down. Sounds like Carl wants to change his kids' political views. It's not going to happen. I've had my house burglarized before. I was younger. I was married less than a year, and I lived in a trailer, a single wide trailer, and I was away on Christmas Day to visit with family, and that we lived in the same town, and somebody literally kicked my door down and stole a few items, like a stereo and a shotgun, a marble chess set, things that were valuable to me. It wasn't life changing. They took some things valuably. The thing that was the most distressing, and I think I'm still affected by it, that they breached that security that made me feel insecure and cautious. And I say it still affects me because ever since then, when I generally, any house we bought, anything we did, we put in detection devices, burglar alarms. We put in motion detectors. We never wanted that to happen again. And I never felt violated like that before. So I imagine, Carl's house didn't burn down, but it is a big deal. Somebody's in his backyard on his grounds, taking down stuff he put up, and that is emotionally you feel violated. Emotionally, you don't sleep the same the next night. You keep looking out in the backyard, wondering who's coming next. I think Carl's acting just exactly right, considering. And whether or not he wants to change his kids' political views, I have no idea. But he definitely wants to ask him, like, what's the rationale? Why would you do it? What convinced you that this was a good idea? And I think those are fair questions. I myself would like to ask him that because I'm always curious. Is that something that because you watch certain TV shows? Is it because the teachers talked you into it, or just your local friends? And where does that come from? Does it come from social media? And now that we know that a lot of this social media and a lot of this stuff is directed politically, and a lot of it offshore politically, where China invests a lot of money, the people like George Soros invest a lot of money, although he's an American citizen now. And there's a lot of left-wing ideologues that are socialist and communist in nature that are trying to redirect the children. So I think it would be interesting to know, I guess, what really was the kid's motivation. And you say that you're not going to change the kid's political view. That is just dead wrong. Let me see. My political view at that age, high school, I just followed the lead to where my parents were and everything else, and I was a Democrat. Now, I think you can change, and I did change, and it didn't take me long. I graduated 75 in high school, and I would consider I registered as a Democrat when I got old enough. And I went and saw Jimmy Carter's son, who came to our college campus, and I voted for him and all that because I thought Reagan, because I listened to all the crap, the lies about Reagan. Yeah, gunslinger, going to get us into a war. He's just an actor. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a good talker. He just reads. He doesn't have his own mindset. Kind of like describing him like he was a Biden or something. That he was just reading scripts. Not true. I found out the lies, and that's how I changed. So you can change a kid's mind by giving them facts and information. I'll be back. It's top of the hour, AM 560, KBLU.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
from President Trump in 12 hours. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Going to Congress to address the nation, a State of the Union speech with a big focus on
everyday Americans who are directly benefiting from his policies and making a few new policy announcements as well to continue tackling the affordability crisis that Joe Biden created.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells Fox the address will also celebrate America's 250th birthday.
He is going to share the stories of great American heroes who exemplify bravery and the spirit of 1776.
New Olympic heroes will also be there tonight. Gold medalists. The U.S. men's hockey team has been invited. Some will go the day after a big homecoming from Italy. Zach Wierenski, who set up the gold medal game-winning overtime goal, tells Fox.
It was incredible last night being home, being in front of our fans, seeing everyone in the streets of Miami. You just can't make it up.
More than 36 Democrats and an independent will not attend tonight, boycotting the president's speech in Congress as they keep holding up Homeland Security funding, demanding immigration enforcement reform, calling ICE out of control. The president also may bring up the Iran nuclear threat tonight and Ukraine. Today marks 4 years since Russia invaded, and as the war rages on,
the president of Ukraine says he wants President Trump to see with his own eyes what's happened to his country. Walking alongside a makeshift monument to the fallen, Volodymyr Zelensky invites the president to Kyiv, saying only then can he understand what this war is really about.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Snowplow drivers working overtime in the Northeast as people shovel out from that blizzard.
Over in Rhode Island, they had 37.9 inches of snow reported. That broke their longest standing record, making this the greatest snowstorm in Providence's history.
Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell. A lot of people still have no electricity or heat. More than 350,000 power outages. Airlines still catching up. More than 2,000 flights canceled today. America's listening to Fox News.
This month, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
From the News 11's information desk, I'm Julie Aguilera. Candidates for City Council are currently collecting signatures to qualify for the ballot in this year's election. Candidates for the City Council and the mayor have to collect a minimum of 998 signatures just to get into the ballot for this year's upcoming election. Carol Smith, who is the incumbent running for a seat on City Council, is focused on maintaining public safety and says there is still work to be done. Henry Valenzuela campaign is focused on public safety, growing businesses in Yuma, and wants to focus on youth sports. Carol Smith shares what signing the ballot means. She says getting these signatures is not casting a vote. It's just giving people the opportunity to grab a seat. Candidates have until March 23rd to collect their signatures. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. Sean Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
AM 560, KBLU, Russ Clark with you. It's Tuesday morning, 7:04. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. Mar-a-Lago had a security breach. You know, not just Carl. Carl's not the only one who has a security breach. Mar-a-Lago has a security breach. I'll talk about it after the phone call. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Russ.
How are you, sir?
Good, good. Glad to see that you're back and glad to hear that everything went well on your pacemaker.
Yeah, I think I'm new and improved.
Family.
Yeah, I'm improved, man. Thank you for that. Thanks.
Hey, we have the state superintendent coming in on Wednesday, I hear.
Okay.
So if maybe Carl wants to get a meeting with him and the superintendent of Yuma Union and find out what the hell's going on over there.
And you're talking about Tom Horn?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I am. But I don't exactly know what his itinerary is, but I know that he's going to be here on Wednesday.
He's generally very accessible. So I don't know his itinerary either, but when I find out, we'll talk about it.
But anyway, I just wanted to say that I know that he is coming into town on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So where he's going to be, I don't know that answer.
We'll find out quickly.
All right. Well, y'all have a great day.
All right, buddy. Take care, man. Bye-bye. That was Bruce. Let me see. I'm looking real quick, and as I thought, he's going to be at the meeting tonight. So Tom Horn, Superintendent of Public Instruction, and I'm reading Tanya Wright's notes. She's been helping set all that up. Tom Horn's going to be there tonight, and everyone's welcome. It's a Yuma County Republican Party. It's at the food bank. Starts at 6 o'clock. Check-in starts at 5:30. Come on over. They're going to also have Christy Craddock, and she's going to talk on the high school kids being able to just walk off campus and join a protest and do that kind of stuff, which is dangerous because they're kids. Yeah, they don't have life experience. They may do something they shouldn't be doing. And Greg Roberg is going to be there also tonight. He's running for Arizona Attorney General. So we're going to have 3 guests tonight. So it's going to move pretty quickly. I mean, we try to get these things out in 1 hour so that, you end up going to these meetings and they say it's an hour and then it lasts for 2 or 3. I'm not a fan. I like to get in, get the information, get out. Or, and we do this also at 7 o'clock when it's over. The candidates will generally stick around. I don't know which ones can and can't. Some of them might have another meeting to go to. But generally, they stick around and during teardown, putting chairs away, taking audio equipment down and all that, there's a lot of great conversation. You get to go one-on-one with a lot of these people or small groups or whatever. And they'll stay and talk to you. And I know they've hung around until 8 o'clock before at times. I know I'm sometimes have to lock up. So there is opportunities there, and I'll be there tonight. And I haven't been much in the public since, I had that minor surgery on Friday where they put in a pacemaker. I mean, yeah, it's a wire goes into your heart and all that, but it's not it's not like they open up your chest or anything. The catheter thing is amazing and what they can do. And you heal quickly, of course. That happened Friday, and I was in here Monday morning, no problem. But I've been staying away from the work. I don't want to bump, and I'm supposed to limit movement a little bit. So being in the studio is fine. I control this one. I don't even have any guests coming in. I'm good. In fact, phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. The Mar-a-Lago estate had a breach at 1:30 in the morning. And I was curious, and I heard about it, and I didn't really know the details, but it was at 1:30 in the morning. 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin, North Carolina, decided he was going to sneak in. And a lot of people asked, well, how could a place so security conscious, I mean, the president lives there, how could they let somebody in? How could they get that far to where they get inside the perimeter? Which is a great question and a fair question. He went in a gate, an exit gate for cars, or it's like any of those exit gates when you go to some of these gated communities. The car comes up to the exit gate, the gate's an automatic open, and then it automatically closes as soon as the car clears. It automatically closes. Well, you got that time where you could sneak in there, and that's exactly what he did. This guy Austin Tucker Martin. I didn't go unseen. It didn't go unnoticed. The Secret Service saw it and confronted him. And he's holding a shotgun in one hand and a gas can in another. That's a bad combination. You can't say I'm there to deliver. Doesn't sound like an Uber driver. He was told to drop the items, and he dropped the gas can so he could put two hands on the shotgun and aim it at the police officers. That is not a good thing to do, and he did not live to talk about it. He died at the scene. It doesn't say he even got a shot off. I would imagine him breaking the perimeter like he did and all that. The way he came in, the guns were probably drawn ahead of time, but I don't know that for a fact. Laura Trump on Monday said you have to ask yourself, whenever you just casually throw around items like Nazi, like fascist, like Hitler and racist, what do you think the consequences of that ultimately will be? And she's alluding to her dad, obviously. I mean, how many times has he been called the worst thing for democracy, the biggest danger to democracy by Joe Biden and all that, and Nazi and Hitler, a felon and all that, 97 charges, which were literally trumped up charges. They changed laws in order to bring some civil actions and stuff. And they're mostly all failed now. I don't know what he's fighting in court right now. I think the determination on that one lady he was accused of sexually assaulting, they can't remember the time or date or the store or whatever. I don't know, that kind of stuff. But I think that one will eventually be, like the others, just gone. They're not going to exist. But it just shows how it's lawfare went awry. You create the lawfare, and then all your minions say, "Yep, he's a felon. Look at all the charges. He's the worst guy ever." A Nazi. And Laura's asking the question, what are the consequences of that kind of stuff? Well, I think we see them. Three assassination attempts. One that actually got a shot off and clipped his ear. He's a very fortunate man. She says, I keep wondering, how many chances does one man get? He's going to be lucky enough at some point, meaning the one attempting assassination. Thank God he wasn't at Mar-a-Lago, and the First Lady wasn't there this weekend. But you don't get lucky every single time. And then she added that there was deafening silence from one side of the political aisle. The third threat to his life following assassination attempts at Butler, Pennsylvania rally in Mar-a-Lago in 2024. And there's nothing mentioned from the left, which is very noteworthy. There should be a unified anti-assassin sentiment out there amongst all political sides. And I know there is, for at least the friends I have, the people I know, about whether somebody was going to try to attempt to assassinate Joe Biden or something, it would have been absolutely horrific. It's bad for the country. It's bad for everything. But somehow the Democrats feel differently. They do. Unfortunately, it's a dangerous crowd. Tim Miller is a former Secret Service agent. He said, it's a fight of good versus evil. If you believe in America, if you believe that this is the greatest place on earth, then you're going to want to support it. But this ideology on the left is all about highlighting to our young people what's wrong. My hope and prayer is that all Americans would wake up, because if not, this violence is going to become more and more common. I agree. And it's dangerous, and it's unnecessary and unfortunate. And I know there were polls done. I don't have them in front of me anymore, but it was a high percentage that thought it would be okay to assassinate Donald Trump from the Democrats. And high percentage, I mean double digits. I don't mean 80%. But it was an amazing amount that I thought that surprised me. Not a reality I would thought would exist. And my fact checker, one of them, says, I think Laura Trump is a daughter-in-law. That's true. She is a daughter-in-law. I said daughter. It is a daughter-in-law. Thank you. You're exactly right. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
We're doing well. Good morning, Clyde.
Great. Just listening to Carl this morning and I can understand his agitation, somebody reaching in and doing that, but I can't not imagine that a grown man would want to see a young kid not even probably, made a real stupid mistake of jumping up on the fence and taking down 6 letters to ruin that young man's life.
Oh,
the rest of his life.
I don't think
No,
a
listen
juvie
to him.
charge is
Listen
going
to
to
his
ruin a
speeches.
man's life.
You don't think it could come back later on and do something?
No, those records don't even follow him really on a juvie side of things.
Obviously, you've never applied for a federal job, probably, so you don't know what they do. But they do follow. They do. They're going to be there. They may not be exposed and being right up on top of there, but it could be. This young man made a dumb mistake, and he did something he should not have done to reach over. I drive by there and I see the ice around, but I also drive by there and I wonder sometimes if that sign is actually in code.
What's in code?
The wind blowing and everything. One day, I hope that thing doesn't fly off and hit somebody's windshield.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be. But I'm just saying is, if you really, really show a little bit of compassion, you know what the kid did is totally wrong.
Right.
I don't say that. But there could be a real good learning lesson for both Carl and for this young man to maybe go out and ask the judge, you know what, bring him through. I'd like him to write a letter, and I would like to see why he did it. But I don't want to charge him. I don't want to be the person coming forth where I don't want anything other than for it to show that he wasn't charged with something. But let the young man come out and say something. Let's show a little bit of consideration. Let's show a little bit of of who we really are as an American. I know he's a Mexican kid by the video. So I know Carl doesn't like Mexicans, and I wish he would just say it like he does.
I have never heard that from Carl, but okay.
On your show, he did. He didn't want no Mexicans sitting next to his grandson in high school. And
I don't recall any of that, but that would surprise me. Okay.
Okay, it did. I mean, and I'm not trying to call it a racist thing, but I'm just, that's not your Carl. You're a veteran. You're an incredible citizen of our community. Just show a little bit of a compassion, and let's make a good thing out of a bad thing.
I'm okay with him pushing charges. That's what the system's for. And remember the guy in Texas that ended up killing kids was picked up like 30 times doing things that he shouldn't have been doing. And the cops all said, we don't want to ruin his record. We don't want to ruin his record. And he ended up killing people. Now, I'm not saying this kid's going to kill people, but let the system take care of it. So, and if it's a misdemeanor charges, they generally do disappear. I mean, you might have to go in and ask it to be sealed or expunged, but at age 18 or 21, the individual's completed all court conditions. You can get those records gone. They're confidential, and they disappear. It's not going to ruin his life unless he decides to make a career out of it.
And so what you just said is true, but there's probably a million other cases of something like this that happened that somebody showed some compassion and turned a bad thing into a good thing. That's all I'm saying. You know what? There's an opportunity there to show this young man what it is to be a good American. Yeah, you screwed up, kid, but let me show you. This is what it is to be a good American, and this is what it is to be a proud Republican. This is where, I have the compassion where it's at, but don't do this. And you know what? Encourage your friends not to do stuff like this.
Well, I think discouraging them is what the system's set up for, because there are charges. There are things to the community that you got to pay back, and you got to go to court. You got to explain to a judge, and a judge makes those decisions.
Yeah, and then we have the revolving door downtown at Yuma County, where you have somebody picked up on a drug charge that didn't bother nobody, smoked a joint, did whatever they did, got busted, and then they get into that revolving door of probation and going around and around and around, and guess what? They never get out of it.
That's the story.
And those are what's that?
I mean, that is a story I've heard before, but I also think that there's some of those people.
You were a supervisor, gosh, I would hope you would have looked into that when you were a supervisor.
I did look into it. In fact, I went to a lot of drug courts to talk to kids and talk to people that were involved. And drug court was one of the best things that saved their lives. I remember that well. And I went, and they were sponsored by a lot of our judges here locally that started those programs. And we got recidivism way down, or they did. I mean, I watched it.
It was Judge Tom Cole who started the program. That's not a lot of judges. That was one judge.
Well, there were a lot of judges involved.
I know you haven't been in Yuma a long time, but I'm just going to tell you where it's at. And all I'm going to say is, here's an opportunity for an older person to show a little bit of compassion and maybe make a better teaching other than running through the way it's going to run or the way he thinks it needs to run. That's all I'm saying. You know what? And I think a lot of people in our community that have a level head, that have kids, would probably agree, because we all have kids, and we've all been blessed that either our kids go a straight line, or they don't go a straight line, or they veer off the line. It can happen to anybody's kids.
Look,
anybody's.
I told my kids, if I ever catch drugs, I'm going to turn you in myself. And I would have. I would have got them into the system to save their lives.
And then you would have thrown them into the revolving door. And that's good.
Yeah, is that what you think? I mean, I'm sorry you think that. I don't dislike our system that much. I think our system can do more good than bad. And it gives opportunity.
I disliked it. I didn't say I disliked our system.
Well, you're saying that it's you make it sound like it's an automatic, degradation of who we are, and you're automatically going to get in this revolving door, and you're going to become a bad man out of it. I don't believe that.
No. You're not going to become a bad man. You're just going to be pushed down. You're never going to be able to have that opportunity to rise back up out of it.
I think it's a wake up call that may get you on the right track. And I've seen too many like that have gotten on the right track over it. And I've visited some halfway houses. I've visited drug courts. I go to the mission and I talk to the people that are at the mission that hit rock bottom, that were in jail, that were in doing things, and now they're running programs to rehabilitate. I mean, it doesn't end your life. In fact, some of them, it started their life.
It did, and I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about I'm just trying to talk to you about one situation right there where there's an opportunity for a grown adult to be able to go down, speak to this young man, have this young man write everybody wants to know why he wants it. Have him write the report, but don't press the charge. Just go through where it's at.
Well,
and the guy.
Yeah, that decision's up to Carl, and I don't think it's a bad thing to go through it or not go through it. That's up to him. My brother ended up doing a lot of juvie crimes and ended up, getting caught, going to trial, going to jail. And he spent a whole lifetime doing it. But that's because my brother was an idiot. It had nothing to do with the system. The system kept trying to help him. And I saw him continue to go down the wrong path.
Well, once again, too, I'm not, it's what the young man did. Now, if the guy would have went and stabbed somebody, I wouldn't be standing here having this conversation with you. Okay. If he went in and stole something, from the store or whatever, I wouldn't be having this conversation. Yeah, let the system do it because it needs to. I'm not saying the system is flawed.
Well, I think you're lining your.
I'm taking one circumstance, only one circumstance, one incident, and I'm trying to say, show a little bit of compassion, not compassion, just show a little bit of, I'm a better person than you, and what you did was wrong, and this is what I want you to do, and whatever, and go forward. And maybe that man might go in the straight road because he may think that, maybe it is better to go and do it this way. There's a better way to demonstrate than the way that I did it because I'm just a young, dumb 16, 15, 17-year-old that did it.
He may also think that there's no consequences like the shoplifters in San Francisco that are allowed to steal $900. It didn't help anybody. It made everybody worse.
Well, that's the system that made that. That wasn't the individuals.
Well, I think we should follow the system we have here and not change it to where individuals get off.
Okay.
There should be a price. I don't know what that price is, but there should be a price.
Well, I guess my price, what I think the price to be and what you think the price to be might be two different prices.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's called free enterprise, right?
Yeah.
Choose a price. Have a good day.
See you, man. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's a difference of opinion. But that's okay. Okay, here's from my fact checker. If this student faces no consequences, the behavior is likely to escalate. I agree with that. And it signals to others that acting out carries no real cost. No one starts out bad. Patterns like this are learned and reinforced over time, especially when boundaries aren't clearly set and consistently enforced. And while compassion matters, compassion for the guilty becomes a fraud against the innocent when it leaves those harms without protection or recourse. If this were my child, I'd be the first one walking him down to the police station to take responsibility and deal with the consequence. I'm with Edward. And I promised my children, as they were growing up, that I would do the same. I would call the sheriff. I said, if you have drugs in the house or anything like that, don't worry about it. I'm friends with the sheriff. I'll get him in here and get it taken care of because that's something I can't deal with myself. I don't know how, but I'll be with you in court. I'll be with you to visit you in jail, and I'll help you go through the process. That was my message to them. Never had a problem because they knew I was serious, and I was serious. I would have done that to save their lives. There's always one and the first that leads to a second and a third, and then they see no consequences. Oh, and he wrote in here, I didn't read this before I mentioned it, the shoplifters in California is 950 per incident before the police can get involved. Yep. And it's a downward spiral, and I know it's about compassion and all that, and you start painting Carl a little bit as the aggressor in this. Like, you're not a compassionate man. Carl is compassionate. I guarantee you. I've known the man for a while. But they invaded his territory, and I know what that feels like. I do. And it was not a big burglary at my house. They didn't burn it down. They didn't trash it. They stole some things that were important to me, and they kicked in my door and made me feel vulnerable, which still does to this day. That's why I like alarms on my house and on my businesses. I guess it brought me to a reality that not everyone respects private property. So I need to protect it myself with cameras, and I do. I have cameras at my shop, cameras and alarms. For all of that. And if somebody does something, I'm going to press charges. That's just, I'm going to let the system take care of it. The system's set up to rehabilitate. The system is set up to help. And not everyone is going to respond to that positively. Some people are, it's just going to be evil, and they're going to continue down that pathway. And if you don't report it, we're not going to get them off the street fast enough. Like that kid down in Florida that ended up being a mass murderer. But he had like 30 times where the police had to come out and tell him, don't do that. And did not prosecute him, didn't write it up, didn't want to ruin his life. They were trying something new. We're just going to counsel these kids. And there was no consequences. And as a result, a lot of people died. That's an extreme case. I know it's an extreme case, but we should pay attention to it. I'll be right back. AM 560.
This is as real as it gets. Get up, get kids up, feed the dog, feed the kids, out the door, work, pick up kids, dinner, bath, bed, repeat. You strive all day to make life better for them. So why not make life better for you? Get strive-free checking at Avenir Financial. No frills, no fuss, no monthly fee. Open a strive-free checking today at avenirfinancial.org. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
March 6th through the 8th, it's the 33rd annual Midnight at the Oasis. An entire weekend of food, entertainment, and hundreds of classic cars and trucks. With the rally on Main Street, Thursday evening, March 5th. Friday, the gates open at noon for the show and shine, and at 4:30, hundreds of the cars will be cruising to Yuma from Coco Park Casino. It's the 33rd annual Midnight at the Oasis, an entire weekend of food, entertainment, and hundreds of classic cars and trucks.
Approaching record-setting high temperatures for this week with 89 the high today. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. Clear and 60 tonight. Sunny and 94 tomorrow. Partly cloudy and 65 tomorrow night.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
The Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale returns to the Yuma Fairgrounds with monster savings and a massive selection.
Explore millions of dollars of new and used inventory with aggressive roadshow clearance prices.
Shop and save on everything from affordable towables to luxury Class A diesel pushers.
This is one of the world's largest traveling RV sales, so get here early to score the best deals.
Whatever you do, don't miss the Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale.
Thursday through Sunday at the Yuma County Fairgrounds.
Presented by RV Country.
Contest rules for all giveaways and contests on 560 KBLU can be found on the website, kbluam.com.
There's a man in D.C.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. One more comment about Clyde's viewpoint, in which I respect him telling us, and I like the fact that he's open about how he feels about this. I think that's positive, although I think his direction's wrong. Another listener said, "Good grief. Why does Clyde think this young male's life will be ruined by Carl making him be responsible for his vandalism? It could actually turn his life into a better direction. Clyde is also negative. It's thinking like Clyde's that has our country in a mess." And that's just one opinion. He's not, and another one says, he's not calling Carl racist. He just did. I think he did call Carl racist without saying the word racist, of course. Carl has supported and campaigned for Hispanic candidates. Oh, a good point. I didn't even think about that, but that is like lots of Hispanic candidates. I mean, we have tremendous amount of Hispanic candidates here, so he has no problems with people of Mexican descent. Another caller or listener, if there are no consequences for your wrong actions, that is licensed to continue with the wrong actions. His juvenile record will not follow him, in which I know that to be the case. And although, and it depends, misdemeanor, felony, and all that, and then the judge has to, I think, agree to seal it or sponge it or something at some point, assuming that you do everything required according. And this is a misdemeanor thing; it's not a big thing, I don't think. If he does not face the consequences, then all of his friends will see. We'll see that, and he gets, and they will do the same thing. We can see how all these riots in 2014 that were not punished, that led to the riots of 2020, that were praised, and we can see the continuation of violence because it is praised. And that's just a few comments from some of the listeners. And I don't think they're out for blood to damage this kid, but he needs to learn a lesson. This is totally unacceptable. You don't pierce a guy's homestead, cause damage, and walk away. And we say, "Oh, if you say you're sorry, it's okay," or something. I don't think it's that simple. I started talking about this Austin Martin guy. I guess I covered that. I covered everything. It was a shotgun and all that, and he was ordered to put it down, and he didn't. But something in this other article that also mentions it talks about the fact that the agents are really doing the job without pay. Yeah, they have to do it right now without pay because DHS and I guess we got to be reminded about it. But we're in week 2 already. It's been 2 weeks that they're shut down. They're partial shutdown. So Secret Service is at DHS, is part of that DHS, and that is shut down, and they're doing this dangerous job and all that because the Democrats want to put conditions on ICE. They want to change ICE from what it is, and it's been the same since 2002. This would be a drastic change from where they are. Representative Randy Fine, a Republican out of Florida, says Daytona Beach, just up the coast from Mar-a-Lago, and the incident proves the bravery of the Secret Service, no matter the circumstances. The attempted assassination of President Trump at Mar-a-Lago is a stark reminder of growing leftist political violence in our country. Grateful to the Secret Service who neutralized the terrorist, even as Democrats refused to pay them because of their shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. These men and women continue to stand their post. White House aide Stephen Miller, one of my favorites to listen to. He's a brilliant guy. The left hate him, by the way, because he's a brilliant guy. Stephen Miller says that Democrats voted to defund Secret Service, Homeland Security investigators who partner with Secret Service, and all the intelligence and law enforcement functions that support Secret Service. Never before in history has federal law enforcement been purposely defunded. Didn't know that. Small Business Committee, the House Small Business Committee chairman, Roger Williams of Texas, said that we should take note that the agents who responded, whether paid or not, as we continue to learn more about the armed man at Mar-a-Lago this morning. We must remember that the brave agents who responded are serving our country without pay due to the Democratic shutdown. He put that out on social media. John Bizzaro out of, he's the majority whip and Republican out of Wyoming, warned that the Secret Service and other agencies like FEMA will be put in a bad spot. Democrats are prioritizing the illegal immigrant criminals ahead of the safety of American people. And there was one Democrat that came forward, Louis Frankel. Normally, they're going to be very silent on this. They're not going to say one thing or the other. And that's a touchy subject, and they're just going to stay out of it. Like I say, you don't hear anything but crickets from them on the third assassination attempt, except for Lois Frankel out of Florida. She said political violence is never the answer. Thank you to the Secret Service and Palm Beach County law enforcement for their swift response today and for their continued work in keeping the president safe. That is just so respectful. And it's from a Democrat. That's very nice. Got to give her praise. You know, there's hope for the Democratic Party. Look at that. We got some that would do that. And I think, you know, if there was an assassination attempt on Biden, there would have been the same response from Republicans. At least I think so. You know, we didn't get that opportunity, thank goodness, but I would hope so. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, I've been listening to this conversation you had, and I got one thing to say on here, Russ. He without sin cast upon the first stone.
Okay, repeat that. I can't. You're not clear, but he was what now?
Okay. He without sin cast upon the first stone.
Yes.
Is that what Jesus said?
Well, yes, and that is you know, for a woman's crime or something that he was there. And he said and that was a stoning to death that they were going to do to a woman for adultery. And they said, right.
All I'm saying is, anytime you accuse, now that kid was wrong. Kid was wrong. That's no doubt about it. But also remember, if you have never done anything wrong in your life, such as taking stuff that doesn't belong to you, then I could see it. But if you had done stuff like that, you know, be careful what you wish. Now, I was listening to Carl what he was saying, and he said two things. I want that kid to face me and talk to me and tell me why he did it. And the same, you know, in the same token, I'm still going to file charges.
Yeah, he did.
And he has that right. He
Sure
has that
does.
right.
Yes.
He has that right. But I also heard stuff coming out of his mouth that I would think, wow, dude, you're a little racist.
Well, and maybe you have. And Clyde said the same thing, but I happen to know the guy and know who he supports and all that, and I've never seen anything racist, but he might have said something that might be
Well, I'll send you a private message
okay.
that him and I had a conversation one time, and that's what turned me away.
Yeah.
And it was a very racist comment.
Well, and that's unfortunate because, you know, I don't support racial comments. It's destructive.
Especially the college you went to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I went to a historically black college, but
yeah.
But that's because I didn't understand. I mean, I grew up on military bases. Race was never a deal. I didn't know.
Well,
Absolutely. Yep. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, that he who's without sin throw the first stone is an amazing story in the Bible, and I think it was appropriate for the situation. It doesn't mean that people don't pay for their crimes and their positioning. This was more of a mob rule thing, although it was within the norms of the time. But if that were the litmus test for every time somebody did something wrong, that you know, if everybody had to be pure, that because there was only one pure person ever live. We'd never have any laws at all. You couldn't have any laws because somebody, I mean, none of us grew up without sin or are not living in sin at some point or another. We've had one good one. Let me see the correction. Both Republicans, and this is coming from Edward, both Republicans and Democrats use the phrase working without pay during shutdowns to enhance emotional value. True, but it is incorrect and misleading. Okay, No government employee works without pay. They're working with a delay in pay, as all government employees are reimbursed. Also true. The exception would be contracts. Like when the government shut down YPG, I don't know what the percentages are, but it's got to be 80, 90% are contract employees. They worked without pay. Well, they didn't work. They were sent home without pay. Maybe, and the ones that did work got paid somehow because they were contract employees. They couldn't force them to work. But the people being harmed, the most are, he gets to it. I didn't even read that part. The people that are harmed are contractors, which you're exactly right, Edward, who are normally laid off and not paid at all. Right, they're normally laid off. And there was some emergency that they could call some of the contractors to do some stuff, and those people would be paid, but those were exceptions. A lot of the people ended up taking sick days, taking vacation days, whatever they could do, until it ran out. And some people quit YPG employment. They'd worked out there for many years, were experienced, and they said, I've had enough of this insecurity, and got a job where it was more secure. So yeah, saying without pay is not true. You just may be late on your mortgage. Some people are not going to have the savings back. But I have heard there's credit unions and other things that work with the people that are government employees that have to work and not getting paid. And I know that in the past some local credit unions have worked with them and said, look, we'll cover your bills in the form of like a low interest or loan of some kind, or some of them I think was no interest. It depends on the situation. Loan to get you through, because we know the paycheck's coming, and that makes good business sense too. I think it's a great business sense. But yeah, contractors, they don't get paid, but all the government employees will. And I think this one, I don't know how many contractors this would affect, but I would assume most of these are government employees. But I haven't read anything to support that. But YPG was definitely mostly contractors. Robo-taxis. I really like this subject. I mean, I like the technology. I like to understand where robo-taxis are going, what their future is. And if I'm going to be able to just type into my phone and say, send a car, and have it pick me up, jump in the back, and go home. I'm looking forward to that, actually. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
All right, I'm going to...
Oh, robo-taxi. You called me.
No. I've been trying to call you for a few, but I'm going to jump in with the others who are, disagreeing with your buddy Clyde. And just so you know, he is not your friend. He is someone you have known for a long time, but he's constantly cutting you down. I don't mind disagreements, but he has to say these little, backhanded compliments like, I know you haven't lived in Yuma very long.
Yeah.
Dude, you've been here, 20 plus years?
Oh, I moved here in 95. So it's 30 something.
Okay, so it's 30 years. I knew it was 20 or 30, somewhere in there. That's not long.
Yeah.
Okay, so his mama squat and popped him out here on the soil.
Oh, gosh.
But he is no more of a human than you are. Yeah. And I just, it irritates me because, with OG, you know what you're going to get. But he slides in there with his backhanded compliments or his outright insults, and it's just irritating to me.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to call in and stick up for you, homeboy.
Well, I appreciate that, Robo-taxi. Thank you, sir. Take care. Yeah, he's really an Uber guy, but and Lyft, I think. He does both. Because he wakes up in the morning, and what are you going to do? Just sit around the house? No, he gets out. He gets out and does it. I think good for him. I might start doing that. Except I'm in here. The robo-taxi, which is reality right now. It's reality in a lot of cities. And I guess I didn't know which ones. And it's Waymo. Waymo is the one that's out there the most right now. It's not Tesla. It's Waymo. it gave 15 million driverless rides in 2025. I had no idea it was that many. So it's not a handful. It's 15 million. 15 million rides in 2025. And right now they're doing about 4,000 per week in Waymo. Those numbers kind of blew me away. I had no idea. I thought they were running some small pilot programs, and we've heard about some of the issues. Like the people in San Francisco thought it was funny to put those traffic cones in front of it so that they got confused and didn't move. They stranded them by putting a traffic cone and laughed at the cars and stuff. They had to I think they made a rule that you can't do that anymore. Well, that 400,000 a week, and it says 400,000. It's valued at 126 billion. I imagine that's the 15 million, not the 4,000 a week, but the 15 million is 126 billion dollars. It's available in Phoenix, San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, Austin, Atlanta, Miami, and in this year, it's coming to Dallas, Denver, DC, London, and Tokyo. It doesn't say Yuma. You have to go to Phoenix if you're in Arizona to get a Waymo. Which I would do it for the experience. I don't know why, it'd be fun. Tesla now has launched in Austin last June. I thought Tesla had some stuff out there, but I didn't know when and where. But since June, so it's been a while, they only have 31 cars. And unlike Waymo, it doesn't say how many cars they have, but if they're doing 15 million rides, they got more than 31. One tester, and every single one, though, has to have a driver in the car that just sits there. Unlike Waymo, they've been letting them guys go, and they've had some problems with it. There's been some accidents, and I'll get to that. But with the Tesla, there has to be somebody in the seat that's paying attention because it's a test thing and doing proof of concept before they turn it loose. It says one tester took 42 trips. Every single one still had a safety monitor on board. So somebody that used it still safety monitored. And then ZooX, it's owned by Amazon. Their pod, they have a pod that has no steering wheel and drives in both directions. Rides are free in Vegas and San Francisco. They're free because they're waiting approval to charge. They don't have that opportunity yet. So they say, well, we'll just put them out there for free, I guess, to prove the concept and prove they work. So Waymo uses cameras, LiDAR, laser radar that builds a 3D map around the car, that's what LiDAR is, and traditional radar. It works in total darkness and in heavy rain. Tesla uses cameras only, and they moved to that. They used to have LiDAR and all. Then they found out that the cameras were cheaper, and they developed all the software around the cameras. It says they have 8 cameras, no LiDAR, cheaper. And that's how it offers rides at $1.99 per kilometer. So not too bad. The Tesla has reported 7 crash incidences. Waymo says it has an 80% fewer injury crashes than human drivers, which means they're not proud of the crashes they have had, I guess. They just say, well, we're going to throw some percentages at you. We're better than Harry down the street that's drunk most of the time. I don't think that's a big pat on the back. I really want to know how you're doing, not how you're doing compared to flawed humans. But according to the National, Transportation, they've logged 1,429 Waymo incidences since 2021. Now, keep in mind, they've done 15 million rides, but there's been 117 injuries, 2 fatalities, 3 software recalls. But they've been at it a while. They've done 15 million rides. 2 fatalities is too many, but you start comparing it to flawed humans that are drunk, they're probably saving lives. I don't know how many we have a year, 30, 40,000 a year in accidents that take lives, 30 to 40,000. Of course, there's a lot more than 15 million trips. The person who did the article said that there's still some problems with Waymo. He has a friend, and we all do. We all have a friend that has this story. Has a friend that has a story that he was dropped off a mile from his where she was going, and there was no human in the car. There was no one to flag down. I guess there's no panic button or anything. Just a robot card says you've arrived. Get out. They didn't say get out. Just says you've arrived. So they saw that as negative. What does happen if the Waymo takes you to the wrong place? There's no button you can push and get somebody from India or something that's going to tell you that it's okay. But apparently, when robotaxi gets confused, a human in a remote center, see, there is one. I knew it. I'd already read ahead. In the remote center, can see through the cameras and take care of it for you. Apparently, February 4th, Waymo admitted some of those helpings are in the Philippines. Yeah, not. I mean, they're out of country, but well, it's a colony. They testified to that, and the senators weren't amused. Really? Does it make a difference if they're in the Philippines, as long as they're trained to understand and know the deal? I don't know. And something that's in this article that says, our private cars, when we own a car, 95% of the time it's sitting there. I guess that's an average, and I'm sure that's probably true. But robo-taxis run 15 hours a day. Now, none of us can say that we run our cars 15 hours a day, unless we're on vacation, going to a destination. But a normal week, I think people drive 20, 30 miles a day or something, to and from work, and that's about it. So it can come up when, a driverless rides go, because gas, insurance, and all that stuff that we pay for our personal cars. If these driverless get out there and where they're reliable, they're on time, they are trustworthy and all that, it's going to be cheaper. Rather than owning a car, just texting, send one. And then you don't have to park, like, especially in these downtown areas sometimes where, wherever you're going, the parking garage is a mile away. And yeah, that does happen. Airports like Los Angeles and stuff, you have to take shuttles to get to the airport after you park. Waymo may be better. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Mike. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I didn't catch all that previous discussion with Clyde and whatever, but any action has consequences. All right, so and then just like our voting, I'm just thinking, of how much better of a job that Andy Gould would have done instead of that Mays.
Oh my gosh, you wouldn't recognize it. It would be so different. Yeah,
no doubt.
Andy Gould's a great man. Yeah.
Oh, he is. He is. No argument there. And then, but Clyde, he might have an argument with him. But anyway, your drug courts, do they have a separate drug court for juveniles and adults?
I'm not sure about that.
Because I used to go to Andy Gould's drug court,
right?
But what I remember is that it was mainly adults, and he and this was kind of weird, that he actually conducted prayer in his courtroom.
Yes.
Isn't that something? I mean, shoot, you don't have prayer in a courtroom.
Well, you should, and it's
you should.
It's a judge's courtroom, and there's always been that controversy in courtrooms across the nation that have 10 commandments and biblical references and stuff. But the Supreme Court supports it. They don't make you take it out.
Yeah. So he was. Not to mention, he was our Bible study teacher at the church here, and he did that for years. And he's a good guy. So
he is. I don't know what he's up to. I know he was practicing law in Phoenix somewhere, but
he's conducting cases for Christian rights.
Wow.
And so he's still in that line of work, as far as law and Christianity and that type of stuff. And and so he's I stay in contact with the guy. You know,
okay.
He's still a busy guy.
Well, he used to work with some of the high school productions on stage when they would do plays and stuff. Which I would go because Andy Gould was in it.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't been to one since Andy left. But yeah, he was so versatile in so many areas, and my hat's off to him.
Yeah.
So anyway, he'd be good to have him on as a guest here one of these times.
He has been when he lived here. He came in, and I'd enjoy having him. Actually, he's a very good man. Just a great critical thinker. Of course, I like smart guys. So anytime he wants on, we'd be happy to have him.
Yeah. Hey, have you heard anything about the viewer ratings on the Olympics?
No, I haven't. I've watched some of it.
I watched quite a bit of it. It's just I'm just wondering what the ratings were on TV. The TV ratings on the viewership of it.
I haven't heard. And quite often those things are thrown around, good or bad, thrown around.
Right.
But I haven't heard any comments. But some of it was really. I mean, the highlight it was the hockey. First time since the 80s that we had hockey as a highlight, both women and men.
Yeah.
And
46 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
Canada got beat up.
Yeah. Oh boy. And so did that Jack Hughes too. He lost a front tooth there, and then he came back to hit the winning goal.
Yeah, he doesn't care. But he's a hockey player, man. They don't. They're supposed to lose a tooth now and again.
You know what you call a hockey player with all of his teeth?
Oh no! What?
a rookie.
Okay.
A bench warmer.
All right, buddy.
So anyway, I'll let you go.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
You bet. Bye now.
A bench warmer, he says. Yeah. It was a movie Slapshot. Slapshot was a movie that was a comedy about the roughness of hockey and all that. The Hanson brothers and all. Interesting for those of you that haven't seen that, but it was it just really made fun of all the violence. It just showed it degraded to the point where hockey players, as soon as the puck was dropped, everybody threw the gloves off and went to battle. It's not that quite a sport. It's not that bad, but it is rough, man. You better hold on. And I think that was was it Matthew, the American Olympian that lost his teeth? I don't know. This one doesn't say. Matthew Tkachuk. Kachuk. I don't know how to say his last name, but he was definitely there to get the president's phone call. The president called, and it really helped out because we had our FBI guy there, Kash Patel. Kash Patel was there in the locker room, so Kash Patel had the direct line to get him on the phone, and it was actually cool. It's very cool to have that talk. I mean, to have that president call, congratulate on such a noteworthy deal, and it was against Canada, which I guess relations between us and Canada has been a little bit strained, I guess would say, to put that lightly. And I don't wish ill on Canada. And I've seen some podcasters go out there and start trashing Canada, and I'm not in favor. I'm not in favor because there's great people. I mean, even if you're a little disturbed about some of the leadership stuff's going on, you don't want to start attacking the nation. I mean, it's like attacking our nation. We still have a lot of patriots and everything, no matter who the president, even when Biden was president, we still have patriots. You don't want to say that all Americans are like Biden any more than we would say that they're all like the current leadership in Canada. We'll be back. It's already 8:00, and Edward sent me the Olympic viewership. I'll get back to that in the next hour. AM 560 KBOU.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Jaylene Aguilera. Candidates for City Council are currently collecting signatures to qualify for the ballot in this year's election. Candidates for the City Council and the Mayor have to collect a minimum of 998 signatures just to get into the ballot for this year's upcoming election. Carol Smith, who is the incumbent running for a seat on City Council, is focused on maintaining public safety and says there is still work to be done. Henry Valenzuela campaign is focused on public safety, growing businesses in Yuma, and wants to focus on youth sports. Carol Smith shares what signing the ballot means. She says getting these signatures is not casting a vote. It's just giving people the opportunity to grab a seat. Candidates have until March 23rd to collect their signatures. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. Sean Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3".
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's 8:05 on Tuesday morning. I've got a whole hour, so phone lines are open. It is ringing, so let me grab that. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my voice is changing. This is OG.
Man, you didn't sound like OG, man. You must.
I tried to call you the other day, and you just hung up. I think you figured somebody stole my line or something.
Oh, no, I couldn't hear it, is all. You cut out.
Yeah, not what I called you about, but I'm real happy. I probably spent $10,000 on doctors wondering what happened to my larynx.
Wow.
And a simple little Mexican lady here in Yuma, she's about 65 years old, at Fry's, explained to me a home remedy. This is about 2 weeks ago. 8 ounces, I want people to know this, 8 ounces of warm water, half a teaspoon of salt, and gargle it 2 or 3 times every other day.
That's it?
She said it kills the bacteria, and said you probably just got mucus. And I've been toting around this crap for 10 years with American doctors and spent like over $10,000. It's a shame, Russ.
Yeah. And then home remedy, I do the salt thing, particularly if I'm not feeling well before I go on the radio, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to, talk really, enunciate. So
you might even try that yourself. It's 8 ounces of warm water.
Yeah.
She says the reason you want warm water is half a teaspoon, no more than that, half a teaspoon of salt. She said mix it better with the warm water.
And you gargle it, don't swallow it, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. What I do, because gargling can be messy with some people.
Sure.
So I take a mouthful of it and I have a washcloth.
Yeah.
And put it in my mouth while I gargle so it doesn't go everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
You're less messy than me. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. But what I called you about, you was talking about the COVID flu earlier.
Uh-huh.
Well, have you heard of this H3N2 virus? It's called subclad K.
I've heard of viruses out there. I don't remember the exact deal, but I knew there was a new one. Yeah.
This is brand new, and I think China is behind this, just like they were with Wuhan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because of Trump having too much success. Remember, they got him at 2 years in. They're getting him early, and along with the monarchies. But I'm thinking, because, he's changing the world's economy. How do we do business? That's
correct. Yeah, it's that drastic. It is changing the world.
Yes, and the monarchy's got two of the justices that he appointed. But trust me, this is a fact. We've been at war with Great Britain since 1776, and people think it's over, but it's not. They even tried to burn our damn capital down in 1812.
Well, they did burn it out anyway. The outside stood.
But getting back to this flu. Subclad K, 19 million is already infected in the Washington, D.C. and the Virginia area. The media is not telling you, because we got 8.2 billion people, and they want half of them at least dead, is what this is about. This is the world people that runs the world. Anyway, this flu is particularly good at evading the antibodies our bodies have developed. That's your immune system, Russ.
Right.
Symptoms: scratchy throat, chills, headache, low energy. The first 12 to 48 hours is manageable, and then suddenly the crap happens to you. And when that happens, there's no cure.
Oh,
this is serious. This is serious stuff.
Well,
especially babies and older people. They are particularly, it's bad for them.
Right.
No, there's no cure. They don't even have a vaccine. That's why they don't tell you. It's not down in his backyard.
Yeah. I don't trust the vaccines now anyway. They probably got, something in it I don't want anymore.
But go on, so you'll know it, because let me tell you, people travel all over. And it could be illegals that brought it, and they're not telling you, because that would be big for Trump.
Well, true.
It could be China was behind the other one, because, Trump always never called it COVID-19. He always called it the Chinese virus, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. And I think, the Chinese, see, they're in cahoots with Nixon, Ford, Carter, and did you know, you might be familiar with it, but do you know who's behind our assassinated presidents, who's been claimed to be behind all of our assassinated presidents, don't you?
No, I don't.
Well, everywhere I've read, it's the monarchies, the ones that's got trying to kill. This is the third time they try to take Trump out.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Russ, this is serious business, and people had better lift some pages of history and start reading and get themselves in position. So when someone comes knocking on your door, you ask who it is before you open the damn door.
That's unfortunate, but it is getting dangerous out there. Yeah.
It sure is. Anyway, I just want you to particularly inform the people about the subclass K over this, because let me tell you, you got any mask left? I'd say, even though it just protects them from you, but I was carrying one with you somewhere.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Take care.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. That's OG, man. He didn't sound, that sounds like he sounds like he had some throat problems. And I was reading, as he's on the phone with me talking, I pull up an article. It's subclad K. It's what they call it. The exact one that he's talking about. They call it subclad K, but that's not the. It's H3N2 subtype influenza A is what it really is, but they just call it subclad K. And it does look like it's spreading more easily, and it's not necessarily a novel virus, but it's mutated enough to make it more dangerous. And it's currently among children ages 0 to 4 and school-age children. So it's affecting children. Remember the COVID didn't really affect the children in a negative. I mean, they caught it, but they didn't have the mortalities and all the other stuff that the adults had and the older people. Let me see. The Winter Olympics. I was questioned about, do I know what the viewers? Let me read what Edward sent me. The 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan, Cortina, I guess, averaged 23.5 million viewers in the U.S. across NBC's universal platforms. And that's NBC, Peacock, USA, CNBC, marking the most watched Winter Games since 2014. And a 96% increase from 2022, which was the Beijing Olympics. It peaked early and sustained strong numbers driven by significant growth in streaming on Peacock. Now, I watched it on Peacock. I guess it's a streaming service that Helen had before we were married, and we kept it. The key Olympic ratings. Let me see. Best since 2014, we got that. The opening ceremony, 21.4 million, up 34%. Peacock and digital platforms saw record viewership with 1.3 million streamed on the first Saturday alone. The high viewership was attributed to favorable time zones, afternoon windows in the U.S. for European daytime events, and the return of the high entrance matchups. I think it was high interest. And I think that hockey game was a big shot in the arm. I don't know how many people watch that, but it's giving great image to the Olympics. And I know it started off, right out of the bat, right after opening day, right on opening day. I think it was 3 Americans that came out pretty much hated their country. I mean, they said it's softer than that, but I'm translating. Like, play the game, represent everyone. Let me see. Got the Cash Patel thing. I've discussed that a little bit. I do want to discuss the front page of the paper this morning. The Yuma Sun. Not a big paper, but it's ours. Concerns grow as Mexican cartels embrace high tech. Of course, I'm interested in tech. I want to see that right away. And they're talking about drones. And I guess I was surprised. Now we know about El Paso that closed recently. They shut down the airport. They didn't close El Paso. They closed the airport, and they said it was going to be closed for a week. And they didn't really give a strong message as to why. I mean, we all figured out it was something to do with drones, possibly. But law enforcement in Arizona says the threat has become a routine part of life along the southwest border, as it is in Texas. In Texas, that's why they closed it down, apparently. And they interviewed Leon Wilmot, our Yuma County sheriff. He says it's a significant public safety threat that needs to be addressed. The cartels have an unlimited budget, and they're going to do what they need to do to get their products across. They do not value human life. He said his offices now sees 3 or 4 drone incursions across the border each week, the ones that he knows about. Drones are large enough for their big, dope drop, as well as, the little ones. Because of fentanyl, you don't need a big one. Fentanyl comes in small packages. He said, and some drones are used to scout law enforcement. They to watch for human smugglers and stuff to make sure the coast is clear. So the drones are all out there. He said, talking about countering drones is largely out of reach. And they leave most of that job to the federal government. We just don't have those assets. He says we've always been behind the 8 ball with the cartels because they've got the money. We don't. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials said that there were 34,682 drone flights were detected within 500 meters of the U.S.-Mexican border in the fiscal year 2025. I had no idea it would be that many. 34,682 in 1 year. And that's within 500 meters, so right along the border. 7,678 detected along the U.S.-Canadian border. So even the Canadians, we got the drone attacks going on. I say attacks, they're attacking us with watching for intel so they can get people across the border, and attacking us with drug drops and all that. So far, officials are worried, though, that it's going to be more. They're concerned about the testing of a new laser system designed to counter unmanned aircraft. Cartels are nothing if not innovative, according to, let me see, that's Henry Zimmer, an associate fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. The border is only secure as its weakest point, and drones dramatically help these groups identify those weak points and pilot new routes for smuggling. In October, 3 explosive-laden drones struck a government building in Tijuana, not the United States, Tijuana. And that housed state attorney general's office about a mile from the California border. And of course, they put that out there to let them know that, what the concerns are in the United States. And the concerns are this thing could turn deadly. We see what's going on in the Ukrainian war. We see what's going on in Russia and all that, where drones have become one of the most favored weapons. The weapons that are making the biggest difference are the drones. They're the least expensive, and they can take out $1 million tank right now. Researchers say criminal groups began using drones back in 2019. Just to spot law enforcement movements, as they started off, and then later to smuggle operations in Mexico. Cartels have used drones to attack rivals and other authorities. Of course, that's mostly in Mexico, where they use the attack drones. This article doesn't say anything about an attack drone coming into the United States yet. Last year, intelligence reported that cartels sent volunteers to Ukraine, where officials said they were seeking advanced training in drone warfare, particularly with fast, maneuverable, first-person view, or FPV drones. And you've seen those. Those are the guys who put the headset on. So they're just looking through the camera of the drone to guide it. It looks like fun. They've used that for drone races for years. Now they're using it for weaponry. Ukrainian counterintelligence later investigated at least one Mexican national who had trained there under a false identity and was found to have prior military experience. Stephen Willoughby, executive director of the Department of Homeland Security counter-drone program, we've got one. He was talking about the 27,000 drones within 500 meters in the last 6 months of 2024. And that there's a lot of custom-built aircraft now, just like they do in Ukraine, capable of carrying as much as 220 pounds, because those are significant. Those are like those agricultural drones you see. They're not little toys that are under the Christmas tree. They're more than that, and highly capable. Willoughby said that the Border Patrol seized more than 1,200 pounds of methamphetamine and other narcotics in the second half of 24 that are being transported by drone. And they've also intercepted drones that only can carry 3.6 pounds with just fentanyl pills. So it's a combination. PV, those are the ones where you're looking through their camera, mentioned they're linked to dozens of drone attacks in Mexico in recent years. So they're stepping up drone attacks. And we're seeing the stuff going down in Puerto Vallarta right now where it's total chaos. I haven't seen any drones being used, but apparently the cartels are becoming a favorite go-to. So who knows? U.S. officials say cartel drone attacks have largely remained on the Mexican side. But they're saying it just depending on their self-restraint to keep our agents safe, maybe they're going to start coming over here. It's an unacceptable situation. And possibly that's what went down in Texas on why they closed it. They probably suspected it was more than just a watch out drone or something. Stopping drones, not simple. Border Patrol uses radar, radio frequency sensors, infrared cameras to detect them. But intercepting a drone over populated areas carries risk. Because you can use net guns, you can use radio jamming and other electronic measures with limitations, but you can't just start firing anti-aircraft weapons. The federal government is now moving to expand counter-drone efforts. In January, the Department of Homeland Security announced $115 million to speed up the purchase of counter-drone technology ahead of the World Cup and events tied to the 250th anniversary. See, we got that coming up. The 250th anniversary, if you really want to cause havoc in the United States, big events are going to be a draw because, terrorism is all about that. It's about imagery and getting the word out that, we're bad men. And that's going to have millions of people. Congress also approved the Safer Skies Act. That's part of a 2026 National Defense Authorization Act allowing trained state and local law enforcement officers to disable or destroy drones under certain conditions. Arizona lawmakers in the past year have passed measures to allow officers to shoot down suspected smuggling drones within 15 miles of the border, which is a step forward. So many ways you can build on modifying drone now, and the technology becomes more accessible. It's going to remain. And I read somewhere in the story, I didn't highlight it, but Border Patrol agents or officers of the law coming across these wires out in the middle of nowhere. Well, fiber wires are used on drones. Some of them can be a couple miles long. And that way they're not using frequencies that can be jammed. And they can fly a drone right through the jamming. And they've been doing that in Ukraine and Russia now for quite a couple of years, to where they can get around all the jamming. Well, the cartels are picking up on it. And these guys are well-financed, and they're frustrated that the border is more secure. They're frustrated that Trump has brought more security. And that's a good thing. You don't want to, say, let's just open up the border so they're not mad at us anymore. No, we need to protect ourselves from the trafficking. We need to protect ourselves and others that are human trafficked, people sold into slavery, prostitution, all those kind of things, or used in forced labor, and that stuff does go on. Unfortunately, that stuff does happen. So we need to push it. Another thing in the paper that I wanted to bring up was Hobbs. Well, first, before I get into that, this little article about temperatures set to rise in record-setting winter. It kind of annoys me. We all know that the last few months, it's been warmer in Yuma and in Arizona as a whole. The way the weather patterns were this year, it was warmer. But quite a bit. I mean, it was a beautiful winter. We didn't have a lot of cold. I think it's well known. But when they start tying it to climate change and all that stuff, I get kind of annoyed. Because they leave something out. They leave something out, and that is that the East Coast was like 15 degrees on average colder. Much colder. I mean, I have friends on the East Coast in Virginia and D.C. and that were whining constantly about how cold it is. Well, some things shifted in the atmosphere, and it made it, made it a lot colder there. And as a result, we were just warmer because, we're talking about average temperatures. Though this thing doesn't go through average temperatures. It just talks about how warm it was in Yuma, and it makes you believe that's the way the whole planet was. Not true. I mean, we were warmer, but somebody had to pay a price for that. It was the East Coast. They got slammed. And now we're getting back to normal temperatures and warmer temperatures, actually. We got some warmer temperatures coming up, and they're talking about, we're coming right up on records, on highs now. Like as if an inference of doom and gloom. Like it was already too warm for winter. Now it's going to just be so hot and might have a record. And we might. It's quite possible. There's been another shift of things going around. So we might for a little while. But those things kind of annoy me. Not that the facts aren't right. They're telling facts. But they leave so many facts out that kind of neutralizes it. Something that you look at in big picture wise when you start talking about climate change, which is a global occurrence, not a local one. Although it's, affected the same. But I look back to Edwards' research, which went out and researched the stations, the data. The data they're collecting is flawed, and they know it. And it's been written about before in a lot of cases, but not an extensive study that actually went to 100% of all the stations. Well, Edward did that. He went to 100% of all stations. And it's an unacceptable amount of they're not following their own rules. And they're putting the stations out there where they're going to be hotter because they're next to buildings or over concrete. They're near air conditioning ducts. They're all kinds of stuff. That's just unacceptable. And they're getting bad readings. They know they're getting bad readings, but it fulfills their ideology to scare everybody. And I just find it unacceptable. Look, I'm all for data that's real and science that's real, but we got government paying the scientists. And a lot of that government wants to hear doom and gloom, so that's what they get. And that's because it's not, they're not following their own scientific rules, and they call it science. Well, according to the science, they put the parameters of what the stations are supposed to be, and then they didn't follow it. That's not science. That's allowing bad data to come out that supports an ideology. That's the way I see it. Let me see. Hobbs unveils a plan to disclose ties between donors and state contractors. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to have transparency. It's a good thing to say, okay, these businesses that give a bunch of money to politicians, are they getting some kickback, some quid pro quo? Are they getting favorable, decisions made because they give money? And that's what this is. It's taking a veil off a little bit and saying, okay, we want more information because Hobbs has been accused of pay to play. She's had a lot of accusations on that, probably because some of it's true and some of it's been found out. Well, on Tuesday, Hobbs unveiled her own plan. The reason she did that on Tuesday is because the GOP-led legislature is coming out with a plan now. So she tried to jump ahead. Well, I got my own plan, which is better. And I guess that's the way it works and all that. But her plan does not include a lot of the things that the Republicans would ask for. And that's money not only given directly to the candidates, but other monies that would be given, to defense funds, which Hobbs has been accused of collecting a lot of money in defense funds or for other. And that's where she has loopholes, big loopholes. The law would apply only if the donation went to the elected official. This is Hobbs' plan. That the person's political action committee, but there would be no way of knowing if donor money to one of these politicians' causes, like an inaugural fund, would do it. And part of the problems that Hobbs has and the accusations are this business called Sunshine Residential Homes. They provide care to children removed from their homes by State Department, child safety stuff. Well, they gave Hobbs $100,000 in the 23 inaugural. It was never recorded anywhere. I mean, they found out about it, through other means, and it had to do with some or Arizona Corporation Commission forced Pinnacle West Capital Corp, a parent company of Arizona Public Service, to publicly disclose all of its political activities. And then this thing pops up. Oh, by the way, we gave $100,000 to Hobbs on the inaugural form, which, Trump got a lot of money on his inauguration fund, but he's disclosed it all, and who's giving him money and stuff. Hobbs didn't. And she doesn't want to, and she's writing a bill that wouldn't include all those things. Well, the Sunshine Rental Homes, that business, gets a lot of favorable things from Hobbs. Sunshine donations not only to Hobbs, but also to another $300,000 to the Arizona Democratic Party, the heart of the problems. And the probes are from Chris Mays, our Attorney General, which is kind of confusing because she's a Democrat also and seems to be in lockstep with Hobbs, but maybe not on this. I don't know why. But you see, she pointed out that the governor eventually did make them public. Well, yeah, when she got found out, they were made public. But it didn't come from her initially. It came from other sources. Hobbs has never publicly disclosed that she also got money into a separate legal defense fund. And still isn't going to tell you. A spokesman for Hobbs' campaign refuses to disclose others who have given to the defense fund, or even the total amount the governor has collected for her legal fees. Instead, Michael Breyer said creation of the fund was justified because Hobbs has to fight legal challenges to the 2020 election from the Republican Carrie Lake, which I don't understand. If Lake is challenging the election, well, then the state supports it. But Hobbs apparently felt like she had to throw a ton of money into it to stop them from investigating, I guess. But that's not normal. Normally that would be an issue with the state, not with an individual. So I don't understand why Hobbs threw so much money into it other than she felt like she had to cover something up, maybe. That's a suggestion. Well, the Republicans have already put forth their own deal on transparency thing. It's HB 1168 that says it would be up to anyone responding to a request for bids from the state to affirmly disclose anything of value the company, its officers, directors, or family members provide in the prior 5 years to the governor or to any campaign for that person, which would be an easy thing to do, just report it. Hobbs's bill doesn't say they report it. It says the government will collect all this information and only access it if somebody has a problem, which would be massive bureaucracy. Yeah, her proposal focuses on releasing information after contracts are awarded, not before, but after, which, the obvious problem there. Well, this Sunshine organization that has given money, the owners and all that, in May, they've been given these approvals for price increases and all that. They had a standard rate of 140 per bid. They moved it up 30% to 195, all approved by, I guess, the executive branch. Sunshine made the case that unless it got more money, it would transfer more of its bids to the federal government to house immigrant children. Because immigrant children are expensive. And we're paying for this. These are taxpayers that we're paying for. Taxpayers, are paying for all these increases and paying for all this housing of immigrant children. Because our border's been wide open. He said such a move, the feds were paying $225, would have meant fewer places for DCS to place its foster children. The Sunshine got a new contract housing that's rate then for $234, from $140 up to $234. So it looks like their investment in these politicians has paid off. That's what it looks like on the surface. Well, the Democrats, the Republicans are looking to change that through their bills. That will want more transparency and want more accountability with a form of disclosure from the companies. Companies that do business with the government have to disclose their political donations beyond what they just give to the candidate. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Morning, sir. How you doing?
We're doing well, Ted. Good morning.
Question is, where were the Republicans when this was going on, oversight?
They didn't know about it. There was no way they could know because it was all done in secret. Nobody reported it. Nobody said anything. They
there
found.
ain't no secrets in government, Russ. You know that.
I'm just telling you what I see. but they weren't looking for it. I mean, it's very commonplace. You run for an office, anybody gives you $1, you put that on your report and send it in. It's a normal reporting. But what if they just give you money to an inaugural fund, give you money just to call it a defense fund, or in other ways? Those are loopholes. Oh, so they're not reporting. And what the Republicans are saying, look, you need to report everything. If it's anything connected with a government official or a candidate, report it all ahead of time.
Right.
And they're saying if you want government contracts, you need to report it.
Her and her flunkies knew that. They know that.
Oh yeah, they know
the law. They know the law.
Well, yeah, but I guess we don't have any kind of law right now on the books in Arizona that says you have to. I mean, there's books on the law. There's laws on the books right now. If you give money to a political candidate, that's an obvious. Yes, you got to report it, and the candidate has to report it. It's got to show up. And that's a bone of contention many times when there's a feeling. I mean, David Lara, he spent like no money, so he's been challenged many times. That he's not telling the truth, and he's been investigated many times. And of course, he's telling the truth, but he's being coy about it, just trying to drive the people crazy that are going after him. But we all know that's a fact. You have to do that. But if you give to the inauguration funds, or you give to other campaign type stuff outside their personal political action committees, there's nobody to report it to. There's no requirement.
Don't you have to report that to the Internal Revenue Service?
Correct.
Or your business?
Correct. Correct. But that's all secret stuff. I mean, the politicians are not going to know about that. The IRS doesn't call up the senator and say, "Oh, by the way, you should know this business gave this money to Hobbs." They don't do that. What they're saying now is that with this rule, if you do business with the state of Arizona and any government official, if you give anything to any government official, whether it be legal fees or anything, it just gets reported. That's all. I think that would make good sense. That's transparency.
It's not a private entity. It's public service. I mean, it's public. Why should anything public? Just like all this redaction of crap on the documents.
Yeah.
It's public record. It's public owned. Why are they getting the ability to redact it, hide it, lie about it?
It's under the veil of we're protecting the innocent. And so they just go overboard with it and start redacting entire pages unnecessarily. It's a game.
So Hobbs cheated in the election, but she's trying to protect some innocent people?
Well, I mean, she's got some accusations against her and some things that get found out after the fact that she doesn't report. And she also was given a budget to follow and I can't remember for what it was. But she just blew it away and said, I don't care. And she overdid her budget by $350 million on one item, and I can't remember which it was. But then what does the legislature do? I mean, that's nothing that you're going to say, well, you embezzled money and we're going to arrest you. I don't know what the answer is. There is no penalty. The penalty is to tell the public and see if the public complains about it. And if the public doesn't complain, then she's got carte blanche, spend what you want. I don't care that there's an oversight from the legislature that controls the bank, because I'm just going to spend it anyway.
Did you ever think that when there's mud on everybody, that's why nothing gets done? When everybody's covered in mud?
It's a possibility.
There you go.
Yeah, everybody has a little share of the action. That would be dangerous if that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how money is, buddy. Money and power.
I used to know how money is. I'm pretty broke now. But,
Oh, you are not.
I don't know.
Corporate said you could buy them out.
Sure, I'll bet.
At least the fuel of the race car.
I appreciate the call, man. Thanks.
Have a good day.
All right, bye-bye. As Ted, I need to take a break. We'll be right back.
Approaching record-setting high temperatures for this week with 89 the high today. Winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. Clear and 60 tonight. Sunny and 94 tomorrow. Partly cloudy and 65 tomorrow night.
All right, do-it-yourselfer, you've got the idea, and you got your building supplies at Southwest Lumber.
That's right.
Now, all you need is a bunch of expensive tools to get the job done.
Oh,
That's right. And you know just the place to rent them. Southwest Lumber, your home for everything home improvement. Southwest Lumber has half-day to multiple-day rentals available on just about anything you need to finish the job. Rent equipment and tools on Saturday and Sunday. It's free. Stop in today at 1917 South Avenue B in Yuma. Southwest Lumber, ready for everything.
The Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale returns to the Yuma Fairgrounds with monster savings and a massive selection.
Explore millions of dollars of new and used inventory with aggressive roadshow clearance prices.
Shop and save on everything from affordable towables to luxury Class A diesel pushers.
This is one of the world's largest traveling RV sales, so get here early to score the best deals.
Whatever you do, don't miss the Great American RV Roadshow Super Sale.
Thursday through Sunday at the Yuma County Fairgrounds.
Presented by RV Country.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3", fighting for you.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Cark with you. It's 8:40 on a Tuesday morning. Let's talk about Virginia for just a minute. Abigail Spanberger. She's going to be giving the speech tonight, the one that's anti, Trump, the opposition to the State of the Union. It's a tough position to be in. She's a governor. She's got elected governor. Took over for Glenn Youngkin. And she ran as a centrist and said that, she was not a radical Democrat or, progressive or whatever. But right after she took office, took the oath, she started instituting, a bunch of orders, executive orders that rescinded Glenn Youngkin's orders, like cooperation with ICE. She said, nope, we're not going to cooperate with ICE. So she changed that. She changed the state of Virginia. And then she reprioritized diversity, equity, and inclusion, which Youngkin had done away with, a direction that Trump has done and trying to get back to doing our jobs instead of worrying about what somebody's birth certificate says, and then we have to hire you. And then affordability initiatives and housing regulations and reviews aligned with the progressive approaches to zoning. So she's more like a Mandani on all of that and changing Virginia. Now, she's the one who's going to be giving the speech tonight from a progressive viewpoint, I would assume. But it's already having an effect in the state of Virginia. Boeing announced Wednesday that it's moving its defense space and security headquarters out of the state and back to St. Louis. That's a big deal. They moved it to Arlington, Virginia, back in 2017. And they said, enough, we're out of here. We're going back to St. Louis. When their excuses are that's where the company's products and designs are manufactured and all that stuff. So Boeing's not talking like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a little more straightforward. How much he hates California's laws and bureaucracies and how they're unfair. I mean, he's leaving California and really flashing neon on you guys suck. And it's bad for my employees. It's bad for me, and I'm getting out of here. Boeing's being a little more quiet about that. But they are leaving. They're going back to St. Louis. The Boeing cited leadership proximity. We'll be closer to them. Of course, when they moved the headquarters to Arlington, they already knew that was going to happen, but, they're going back. Steve Parker, a Boeing Defense and Space Security CEO, said that the headquarters move, coupled with our senior leaders being based at and spending their time at major engineering, production, and manufacturing centers across the U.S., reflects our continued focus on disciplined performance across our business. It's important for leaders to be side by side with our teammates, listening for their feedback and acting to remove obstacles as we continue to stabilize and strengthen our business. Sounds like a very public relations type answer, but maybe it's true. Missouri Republican Governor Mike Keogh, he applauded. He said it's a win for the heartland. Missouri is the best place in the nation for aerospace and defense manufacturing, and having the Boeing Defense Headquarters back where it belongs is a win for our workers and a win for the heartland. We are proud to see this leadership return to the production floor where the real work of defending our nation happens every day. See, after she got, Abigail Spanberger got elected, former House colleague, Representative Pat Fallon, a Republican out of Texas, he serves on the House Armed Services Committee, criticized Spanberger's leadership, telling that she's less than a month in office as governor of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger is showing a commitment to turning the Commonwealth into California. Well, see, now I'm more interested in listening to her tonight, see what she has to say in response to Donald Trump's uplifting speech. I'm assuming it's going to be uplifting about his accomplishments, the direction of the country, what he has accomplished, what he is focusing on to accomplish. And I'm sure Spanberger's going to come out with doom and gloom and everything sucks because capitalism sucks. Yeah, they do think that on the left, that capitalism sucks. Of course, that's what creates wealth is capitalism. And creating wealth helps everybody. It just does. Social media is going after Stephen King. I like Stephen King as an author. Yep, I used to read his horror books and go to the movies even of, some of the Stephen Kings. He's prolific. He wrote a lot. I don't think he's good for political commentary, though. I don't even think he lives in the real world. I think he lives in a real bubble that I don't understand completely. Well, he likes tearing into the President Trump. He has Trump derangement syndrome, I think. I don't want to be the guy to do the diagnosis, but you can figure that out for yourself. Well, he went on a rant the other day. He said, Trump has never had a child. He's been married 3 times, ran several businesses into the ground, never ran a home, couldn't make a bed to save his butt, calls people he works with dumb, losers, etc. He's never done sweat labor. He never served on a local committee. He has no life experience. And this comes from a guy that, very successful writer and all that stuff. Why? I don't understand. I mean, that whole diatribe is just so false and so wrong. I mean, and it's not like it's hidden that he has 5 children. I mean, you can Google it. It'll give the names of his children. Most of them we already know. He has been married 3 times. Yes, he has. Now, running several businesses to the ground, I don't think most people know how many businesses he had. And I haven't looked for a while, but it's like 500 businesses. He's had 4 that declared Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is a reorganization under our bankruptcy laws, where you can go in and say, we want to renegotiate our loans and renegotiate everything. Generally, that doesn't work. Well, Chapter 11 is turned into a Chapter 7, which is an out-and-out bankruptcy. You're done, you're gone, you divide the assets and pay off what you can. He did Chapter 11 successfully 4 times. 2 of those 4 were on the same casinos in New Jersey. That with him and his partners, and he was just a partner. He wasn't the only guy in it. He was a partner. That they just couldn't make it work, so they came to agreements and they went their ways. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Okay, so let me ask you a question here now.
What?
We have Stephen King, a person that's criticizing the president, said he's not qualified for anything, right?
He's living in a bubble, man. He writes fantasy.
Okay, but we're talking about you're going to take and listen and get advice from someone who writes
Andy,
novels.
I can't help it, but I'm telling you, people do. Celebrity, for some reason, regardless of how you got to be celebrity, even if it's about reading novels or writing novels, or Robert De Niro.
Oh, but that was a good one. Yesterday, he's out of his mind.
People are going to listen to you, though. Well, because he got an Oscar, so of course he knows the politics.
But consider the source. I mean, God, you got to be smarter than this.
Yeah, I know. Well, it makes a difference, though. But it's always interesting that people like Stephen King or something. And I like Stephen King stuff. I liked Robert De Niro stuff, but I can't really stomach it.
But he writes fiction. So what are you listening? We're listening to someone who writes fiction, and he's going to tell us that someone else is not qualified.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is more qualified than Stephen King is to talk about him.
But you think he would at least be spouting real facts instead of fantasy? Saying Trump has never had a
that's
child?
Democratic policy.
What are you talking about?
We're not going to tell you the truth. We're going to tell you a bunch of BS that doesn't make any difference, except for this is what we think you should think. But we want you to think how stupid you are, that you're going to actually believe what we're telling you.
And he talks about running businesses into the ground. I mean, this guy is a huge success, billions of dollars of success.
But we've always said we need a businessman because this is the largest business in the world.
Yep.
The United States of America. It's a business. We have to run it like a business. And I'm a little upset with SCOTUS right now.
Yeah.
Because they gave him an out, but they still did not do him right because he's doing what he thinks is right, and they didn't do him right. So I'm a little upset with that.
About the tariffs.
I'm gonna rant on SCOTUS.
Yeah.
And then I just love the fact that Democrats aren't going to show up tonight.
And God bless them for doing that. That's fine.
Yeah, because we don't need their rhetoric.
At least they don't get a spectacle. Just go away and let us enjoy it. In fact, I would hope though that if the Democrats don't show up and there's a bunch of empty seats, then allow some people standing outside to come in and fill the seats.
Yes.
Let them come in. We got empty seats in here. Pile in, guys.
Yeah, come in and have a blast. We don't care if you're if you're on crutches or whatever.
Come on.
I just don't understand because I know some diehard dyed-in-the-wool Democrats right here in this town that are friends of mine, and I tell them straight up to their face, at what time in your life did you drink the Kool-Aid, or did your parents feed you the Kool-Aid and you believe what your parents told you?
Hey, a lot of it we start off listening to the mentors in our lives, which are parents and stuff. And I was a registered Democrat at first. I didn't do the research at 18. I didn't know. So I just went with what family were saying. But there's no excuse once you learn and you understand that you don't start making up your own mind.
Well, I'm glad I was brought up to be open and listen to what people had to say. I remember when I was a young man sitting inside my dad's hangar and Barry Goldwater came to town.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the campaign trail.
Uh-huh.
And my mom was on the Republican committee here in town. And she let me see all this stuff. I went to the Cow Palace, and I went, God, this thing is huge. This is beautiful. This is what America's all about.
Yeah.
And I'm the crazy one, Russ. You got to understand that.
Yeah, I think we all figured that out.
Well, a long time ago. But what I'm saying is that I was brought up where I was given the chance to see how it actually worked as a very young man. When I was in school in California, I learned about communism and I learned all these things. And I go, well, this is my plan. I'm just, I can't do anything to change it except for go vote.
Right.
So everybody get out there and I want you to look at what's going on around you and then say, how should I, put my vote in? Do I want the right thing for my country, or do I want to do what's right for the idiots that are trying to ruin my country?
Right.
Did I spout it up?
Well, we need to figure that out on our own after we get started. But we need to continue to listen. Don't listen to just the bubble. And this left is so much about the bubble. That's why they don't want to go there tonight. They don't want to hear anything. They put their hands over their ears and don't want to see it, don't want to hear it.
The three monkeys. I see no evil, I hear no evil, I speak no evil. Oh,
Yeah.
There's only two of those monkeys because they speak evil all the time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they only listen to two, man. They take the third.
It's not going to
monkey.
get, buddy.
See you, man. Bye-bye.
All right.
That was Mr. Andy on this morning. Let me see. King also, in the past, said, wrote tweets out, says, just wanted to say that Trump is traitorous, Putin-loving I can't say that. Dip poop goes double for Elon. So he didn't like Tesla. I bet he doesn't drive a Tesla. Earlier this year, he compared ICE to Nazi Germany's Gestapo. And Trump is ruining the economy with his stupid tariffs. Yeah. I don't think he's an economist. Some of the economists that thought that Trump's tariffs were not going to be helpful to the economy have changed their minds. Have come out and said, well, the results are different than we thought. And the thing that Andy was talking about the Supreme Court, the recent ruling on the tariffs, that he couldn't do that under, I forget which act it was, that he couldn't use that act, which it's not going to stop him. I mean, he's got other acts he can use. Which is why it didn't make sense to me in the POTUS, but I've listened to, I've listened to the other commentators that are, lawyers and all that. And they say, well, the legally, it's understandable because it might not fall under the one act that Trump used, but it doesn't mean he can't do tariffs. He just has to do it under a different program of some kind. I haven't done a full research on it, but it doesn't change things. In fact, the stock market didn't budge, didn't move because of it and all that. So it's not as big a deal as the headlines that, Trump lost a huge deal and all that kind of stuff. Not necessarily true. No, he's not going to have to pay anything back from the looks of things. He'll just reinstitute. In fact, what he said was, I'm going to make it 15% instead of 10. But he legally can. They gave him a pathway to get it done even. You just can't do it this way, whatever that was. You're on the air.
Last thing, Russ.
What's that, man?
Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah, what about it?
That's standing now. Democrats can, or the independents can never use it.
That's correct, too. But
checkmate.
But it doesn't mean that tariffs can't be imposed by the president, because it can.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
But he limited them from ever using it just because of that court standing.
Yeah.
Now they're standing on it.
But it's important. I think what Trump has shown us is that these other countries were taking advantage of us by tariffing our goods and hurting our businesses and supporting their businesses.
Flooding our market with national.
Yeah. And I love these Democrats that say, look, it's going to make everything. It's like a tax. We're all having to pay more money. We're more money. Look, we're bringing wealth to the country, and they don't understand wealth. They don't understand that manufacturing everything back in this country is going to create wealth within the country, and it floats every boat. It's a tide that comes in. Right. Everybody's better.
Right. What did that Democratic Party cost us with an open border? They'll never find the true cost of that, ever.
No, but I think the estimates would be mind-boggling, and they don't seem to care about money on that thing. They don't seem to.
I think there's going to be some slap faces tonight on the TV.
Oh yeah, it's always ridiculous.
No, I think he's going to slap some faces good.
Well, it won't matter because they're well, yeah, it's going to make you happy, but they're going to set their stone face, no emotion, no matter what, and bumps along. I don't think they'll do the whole signs, your liar sign and all that stuff like they've done in the past. Because they look silly, they look stupid.
Yeah, their one good Democrat is going to be sitting forward in his chair listening from Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, Fetterman.
Yeah, he'll be sitting forward in his chair listening.
And it's not that he votes with the Republicans. He just doesn't put up with the stupid stuff. That's all.
Right.
The stuff that doesn't make sense. He says, you know what, that doesn't make sense. But you're supposed to, I guess, if you're on the party, just agree to agree, even because Trump doesn't like it. That's
right. Right. That's ridiculous.
Well, buddy, I appreciate the call.
That's like me saying your shirt doesn't look good to me. I'm not going to use your shop.
Well, I don't care if you come in or not. That's fine.
All right.
We'll see. But yeah, we don't need Ted. I'm already running out of time. But I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening. AM 560 KBLU.
There's a man in D.C.